again from Oakland, California, and welcome to the fifth and possibly the final game of the 1972 World Series. In a game they are still talking about in the last of the ninth inning last night, the Oakland Athletics came back to edge the Cincinnati Reds 3-2 and take that 3-1 lead. Today's fifth game is brought to you by the Gillette Company and their new Cricket disposable butane lighter. The Anderson Company, makers of Anco windshield wiper products for your better driving visibility. By Chrysler Corporation, extra care and engineering. Your host today, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. And by Delta, the airline run by professionals. Delta flies to 99 great places in the Western Hemisphere. And Delta is ready when you are. Hello, everyone, from the Oakland Coliseum in Oakland, California. This is Jim Simpson with Al Michaels, and welcome to the fifth game of the 1972 World Series. The Oakland A's lead 3-1, and today we'll try to nail it down with their fine pinpoint control right-handed pitcher, 21-game winner, Jim Catfish Hunter, who has just begun his warm-ups down the left field line. Down the right field line, the hope of the Cincinnati Reds, backed up by the Reds' excellent bullpen, Jim McLaughlin. The last time he pitched was one inning early in October. The last time he started was nearly 1 month ago. But Sparky Anderson is at least starting McLaughlin today. The weather? Well, the lights have been on here for more than an hour, and it's been the typical Bay Area weather, at least for this 1972 World Series, and that is very overcast with fog in the area. This broadcast is authorized under broadcast rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. In any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of the game without the express consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Well, the gentleman to my right, with whom I have worked in Sapporo, Japan, and on the World Series, is the voice of the Cincinnati Reds, and his team is down 3-1, and obviously he's got some thoughts about that. Here's Al Michaels.
Thank you, Jim, and hi, everybody. And, of course, the Reds have their backs to the wall today. They need a win today and then a win tomorrow if we go back to Cincinnati, and a win again on Sunday in Game 7 to take it all. And they'd become one of the few teams in World Series history to do it if they could come back from a 3-1 deficit. Just to review what's happened in the World Series so far, Saturday, Game 1 at Cincinnati, Gene Tennis hit 2 home runs to account for all the scoring. Ken Holtzman, Raleigh Fingers, and Vida Blue held the Reds to a pair of runs, and the A's won Game 1 3-2, with Holtzman getting the win, Gary Nolan taking the loss. Then, on Sunday, the day belonged in good measure to Catfish Hunter and Joe Rudy, as the A's made it 2 in a row at Riverfront Stadium, beating the Reds 2-1. Rudy hit a home run, which was the deciding run. It came in the 3rd inning. Hunter, meanwhile, pitched 8 shutout innings, gave up a run in the 9th inning, and then Raleigh Fingers came on to get the save. Final score was Oakland 2, Cincinnati 1. Monday was a scheduled off day. Tuesday, of course, Game 3 was scheduled, and we were right up till game time when it started to rain. The game was postponed because of wet grounds, and Game 3 was played on Wednesday night. And the Reds picked up their only victory in the World Series, scoring a run in the 7th inning, and back of Jack Billingham and Clay Carroll, the Reds blanked the A's 1-0. Blue Moon Odom was the losing pitcher. Then yesterday, game number 4 last night, and the A's, with 2 runs in the 9th inning, came from behind to beat the Reds 3-2, and they did it with 1 out, bases empty. Gonzalo Marquez came up, single to center. Gene Tennis single to left. Then 2 pinch hitters, Don Mincher and Angel Manguel, came up, and each on the first pitch singled, Mincher tying the game, Manguel winning the game, and the A's had a dramatic 3-2 victory. Today would have been Gary Nolan's turn for the Reds, except Gary has been bothered through the latter part of the season with a sore shoulder and arm, and so Nolan cannot make it to the post today. Gary is finished for the 1972 season. He will not pitch again in the World Series, and the next time Nolan will pitch will be in Florida in the spring of 1973. So instead of risking it with Gary Nolan, who is unable to make it, and instead of going with Ross Grimsley, who could conceivably pitch today, Sparky Anderson has called on right-hander Jim McLaughlin. If he is like anybody else on the Red staff, he is probably closer to Jack Billingham than any other pitcher. He's a sinker ball pitcher. He's got a good slider. He needs good control, and he needs to keep the ball down like Billingham must. And, of course, Billingham gave a prime example of what he is like at his very best on Wednesday. It was Billingham who went 8 innings, Clay Carroll picked up in the ninth inning, and Jack got the win as the Reds beat the A's 1-0. So McLaughlin is that type of pitcher. He is what you might call sneaky fast or deceptively fast. He is not really a strikeout pitcher. He'll average maybe 6 every 9 innings, but of those 6, 4 or 5 are usually called third strikes. So he is deceptively fast, and of course the Reds are hoping that he's at his best or close to his best today and can work long enough so that even if he's only able to go 5 or 6, Pedro Bourbon, Clay Carroll, and Tommy Hall are ready to pick up at a moment's notice. Meanwhile, the Reds are taking a look at Catfish Hunter. They saw enough of Hunter on Sunday, I think, and are hoping that the experience gained from looking at Hunter, watching him for almost the entire game on Sunday, will pay off today. He is a man that very few of the Reds had faced before, and I know some remarks were made by the Reds that they were not impressed with his stuff that much, but we'll see what happens today now that the Reds have had a chance to take a look at Catfish Hunter. If we go to a 6th game, it'll be played tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Ross Grimsley will pitch for the Reds, and Dick Williams has announced that if there is a 6th game, Vida Blue will get the start tomorrow for Oakland. If the Reds win today and win tomorrow, we then go to a 7th game, which will be played Sunday at Riverfront Stadium. Again, game time, 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Jack Billingham would start on Sunday in Game 7 for the Reds. It would be Blue Moon Odom for the A's. So far, the series dominated by pitching, dominated by really a lack of hitting on the part of both clubs. As we look at the stats, the Reds have averaged a run and a half and 6 hits for each of the 4 games. The A's, meanwhile, slightly better. They've averaged 2 runs a game. So the Reds have held the A's to 8 runs in 4 games, yet find themselves down 3 games to 1 in the World Series. The Reds have been introduced, and they are now set to introduce the Oakland A's with Dick Williams, the manager, taking his place along the third base line. The World Series sold out in Oakland, and I know, Jim, there was some conjecture when the A's beat the Tigers in the American League playoffs. A lot of people were wondering if they would sell out in Oakland, or would it be an embarrassing situation with maybe 40,000. But they were sold out before any of the 3 games started here, and they did it in a hurry.
Well, not to underrate the great game of baseball, and the obvious attraction the World Series is, but there might be some among those here that would like to say to their children or grandchildren, we sat in on the first professional championship in the history of the San Francisco-Oakland Bay area. That's right. In the game of baseball, the Giants were in a World Series in 1962, but in the game of professional basketball, professional hockey, professional football, there's never been a major championship in the San Francisco-Oakland area. Oakland can pull it off today, Al.
Catfish Hunter going for the A's, Jim McLaughlin for the Reds. As far as hitting is concerned in this series, we talked about the lack of it. There have been a couple of individual standouts, however, for the Reds. Tony Perez, the top hitter, through 4 games. He's 7 for 14. And Johnny Bench has had a good series. Bench is 5 for 14. But the big thing with the Reds, and we've talked about it on each of the broadcasts, the fact that the first 3 men have been unable to get on with any consistency. And you look at the stats, and that's all you have to look at. Pete Rose, the leadoff hitter, 1 for 15. Joe Morgan is 0 for 13. Bobby Tolan is 3 for 16. So Bench and Perez have delivered, but there's been nobody on base when they have. For the A's, their leading hitter in the series, average-wise, would be Dick Green, who is 4 for 11. Joe Rudy has the most hits. He's 5 for 15. Gene Tennis, of course, has 4 hits, and 3 of them have been home runs. He hit only 5 during the regular season. He has 3 in the World Series, 2 on Saturday in Game 1, and 1 yesterday to give the A's a 1-0 lead. Right now, the Oakland Symphony Orchestra, located behind second base, and the national anthem. the Oakland Symphony, our national anthem, and we'll be back with the lineups for today's game in 1 minute.
Hello, I'm Johnny Bench for Anco Windshield Wipers. They say that in a ball game, a third baseman averages about 2 to 3 chances to make key plays. And what he does then is what makes a big leaguer. It's the same with windshield wipers. When they're needed badly. If they streak and blur your vision in a storm, there goes the ball game, and you're playing for keeps. So bench those streakers and send in fresh Anco wiper blades. You can get them at any service station where you see the big yellow Anco cabinet. Anco wiper blades by Anderson.
This year, almost all the new cars are the same. Most of the 1973 models are designed to run on low-octane gasoline, like Gulftane. The owner's manuals say so. Check the recommendation in your owner's manual and try a tank full of Gulftane. It has the performance additive package you'd expect from Gulf, and it costs even less than Gulf regular. So why pay more than you have to? Try Gulftane, the low-cost gasoline for new cars.
The lineups for today's game for the Cincinnati Reds. Pete Rose leading off in left field. Joe Morgan at second base. Bobby Tolan hitting third in center. Johnny Bench in the cleanup spot, catching. At first base, Tony Perez batting fifth. Dennis Menke at third base. Cesar Geronimo in right field. Geronimo hitting seventh. Darrell Cheney, the shortstop. And Jim McLaughlin pitching. First ball being thrown out, back of the A's dugout now by the president of the American League, Joe Cronin. The lineup for the A's, Bert Campaneris at shortstop, leading off. Matty Alou in right field. Joe Rudy in left field, hitting third. Mike Epstein at first base. Sal Bando at third base. George Hendrick in center, batting sixth. The catcher, Gene Tennis. Dick Green at second. Right-hander Jim Catfish Hunter pitching. Bob Engel of the National League is the plate umpire. Bill Haller of the American at first. Chris Pellicudis of the National at second. Jim Honachek of the American League at third. Mel Steiner, National, down the left field line. Frank Humont, American, on the right field line. The Oakland A's take the field. If you like collecting things, why not try something with a sure payoff? United States Savings Bonds. You can buy bonds right now through the payroll savings plan. It's easy, it's painless, and it's sure. A few dollars out of each paycheck soon adds up to a lot, and along with your nest egg, you'll collect peace of mind. Start buying U.S. savings bonds now. Join payroll savings. Catfish Hunter. Crafty, fellow who won 21 games this year, 21-7 with the A's. Their big winner, making his way to the mound. Seems to pitch well when the pressure is on, and certainly it's on today. He's got a chance to nail down the World Championship for the Oakland A's as they try to win it in 5. And they'll try to keep the Reds, the first 3, especially off the base paths, as Hunter, Holtzman, Blue, Fingers, and the rest, Blue Moon Odom, they've done it all series long. But the Reds with different ideas, trying to bounce back, trying to send the World Series back to Cincinnati for a 6th game tomorrow. Hunter against McLaughlin, and for the play-by-play at the start of today's 5th game of the World Series, Jim Simpson.
Thanks, Al. Hunter, the second game, worked 8 2/3 innings, only gave up 1 run, 6 hits, struck out 6, and walked 3. In the playoffs against Detroit, he started both the first and fourth games, got no decisions, had 15 1/3 innings pitched, allowed only 2 runs, 10 hits, and a 1.17 earned run average. So just a little bit more than a run in 2 games against Detroit and the 1 against Cincinnati on the average. Pete Rose prepares to stand in as we pause 10 seconds for station identification.
This is WNBC and WNBC FM, New York.
Jim Simpson with Al Michaels back in Oakland, top of the first, 5th game of the series. Rose batting left-handed against the right-hander Hunter. Had the only hit among the Rose, Morgan, Tolan trio, the top three in the Reds batting order when they met last Sunday. Catfish Hunter swings on the first pitch. Rose does, sends a loop deep. To right field, he's looking up, and it is a home run. One to nothing, Cincinnati. Well, as Al told you, both Mitchell and Marquez last night swung on the first pitch to win the ball game in the last of the ninth inning. And now Rose starts off swinging on the first pitch and hitting a home run.
That's a key, of course, it's a key thing to hit the first pitch of the game for a home run, but especially so, Jim, because the Reds were a very down ball club last night and this morning. Very down.
Joe Morgan, 0 for 13, steps in, and there's a strike. Warren Spahn used to have a saying that applies to Catfish Hunter. That is, the plate is 17 inches wide, 15 inches belongs to the hitter. I'll take the inch on either side. Breaking pitch hit right back to Catfish Hunter, who throws him out. That'll bring up Bobby Tolan, whose double last night drove in the only 2 runs that Cincinnati had. Pete Rose has just scored his first run, driven in his first run of the series. Morgan has only scored 1 run, driven in none. He led the majors in runs scored and walks. And Tolan hasn't scored at all yet, but did drive in 2 last night. 1-0 on the Rose home run. Catfish Hunter on the mound, one of the great competitors in the game of baseball, led the American League in percentage of wins, 75% of the games he won. Tolan, left-hander, stands in, bandos in on the grass, breaking pitch, misses on the outside corner. Hunter has a fine fastball, but if you want to talk about his pitching, it is controlled. He nips the corners. Ready back with the fastball, swing and a miss by Tolan. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Started out, Bobby, with the breaking pitch that missed, came back with the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Catfish just doesn't like the ball in the middle of the plate, but he got it in the middle of the plate to Pete Rose, and he hit it out of here. Popped up by Tolan. Campanera's in green. Campanera says he's got it at the edge of the grass and does for the second out. Well, Rose started things with a long home run, but Morgan and Tolan have gone weakly, bouncing to the pitcher and popping to the shortstop. And that'll bring up Johnny Bench, again with nobody on. Bench has no RBIs. He led the majors in RBIs. No home runs. He led the majors in home runs. Has 5 hits, but has been forced to lead off an inning 8 times in the previous 4 games. Catfish Hunter throws him the breaking pitch. He's got the outside corner. Strike 1. Bench looking. Tony Perez kneeling on deck. A's win it today. It's all over. Cincinnati would love to go back to Cincinnati for Game 6 tomorrow. Fastball just misses on the outside corner. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. The Reds were saying that Hunter did not overwhelm them, but Hunter is not an overwhelming pitcher. He is a competitor, and he hits the edges of the plate. Comes back, and there's one foul back over the screen. Back to home plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Not a hot day in Oakland at all, nor is it chilly. Temperature in the low 60s. It is overcast. The lights have been on for some time. This was scheduled an off day, but the rain out on Tuesday meant that we had to play today. Back with a breaking pitch, and Bench goes down swinging. 1 run on the Rose home run. That was the only hit, no errors, and none left. As we go to the last of the first, Cincinnati 1 and Oakland nothing.
Gillette makes a better double edge now than the one your father used. The smoothest edge we can put on a blade for the smoothest shave we can put on your face. The Platinum Plus blade. And someday, Gillette will make even a better blade for your son. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We made the first blade, and we're still the first blade. Gillette. Platinum Plus.
Marty Schmidt, Wethead. Marty Schmidt, the dry look. Mike Bafulco, Wethead.
I don't believe it.
Mike Bafulco, the dry look.
I believe it.
But people do seem to notice an improvement when a guy switches to the dry look, the aerosol hair control from Gillette. You should try it if you haven't already. Comes regular or extra hold.
Joe LaMarca, Wethead.
Ick.
Joe LaMarca, the dry look.
Fantastic.
The dry look from Gillette.
Al Michaels with Jim Simpson at the Oakland Coliseum, Game 5 of the 1972 World Series. Reds leading 1-0. Pete Rose hit the first pitch of the game over the right center field fence for a home run. But then Catfish Hunter got Morgan on a check swing grounder back to the mound. Bobby Tolan popped out. Hunter then struck out Bench. And now Jim McLaughlin goes to work on Campaneris, Alou, and Rudy. And here's Jim.
McLaughlin 9 and 8 on the year. Last pitched 1 scoreless inning on October the 9th. The last time he started, September the 23rd, and he lost the ball game, lasting only 2 1/3 innings. And having been down on the bench so much, one of the most difficult things for any pitcher is with no work at all to try to come back and have his control. Campaneris, right-handed batter, hits the first pitch, fouls it out of play off to the right. Menke at third base, well in on the grass for the very speedy Campy Campaneris, who is 3 for 15 in the series. No RBIs, and Campy has scored no runs. He's tried to steal on Johnny Bench once and was thrown out. Ground ball right back to McLaughlin on the mound, and he throws out Campaneris. That'll bring up Matty Alou. Alou has the distinction of playing in both World Series games played in the San Francisco-Oakland Bay area. 1962, he was a member of the San Francisco Giants. Here it is 1972, he is a member of the Oakland Athletics. 1 for 13 in the series. 1-0, the Reds. We are in the last of the first. Big curveball, and that is way outside. That's just not outside. Bench had to reach way out to get the breaking ball. It never came in. They play Alou around to the left, and there's a ground ball to the left side. Cheney's at shortstop there and throws on and has Alou by plenty. So McLaughlin has both Campaneris and Alou hitting the ball into the ground. Joe Rudy hitting .333. 5 for 15. The last time that Rudy was in the ball game with Jim Catfish Hunter, he hit the home run that won it for Hunter. The other run in that game was driven in by the pitcher, Jim Hunter, who was quite a competitor. Rudy, right-handed batter, 305 during the regular season. McLaughlin, of course, was a former American leaguer with the California Angels. Rudy with a closed stance. They're playing him straight away today, and there's a fastball that catches the outside corner. Normally, they've been playing Rudy pulled around a little bit to the right, but with McLaughlin in there today, they're figuring that Rudy is liable to pull the ball a little bit more. So they're playing him straight away. With 2 out, Rudy up. Menke has gone back off the edge of the grass at third base. Curveball from McLaughlin misses down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-0 the score. Irv Norn coaching over third base for the A's, and Jerry Adair at first base. Back with the fastball. It's lined foul down the right field line and hits off the wall and goes into fair territory where Cesar Geronimo will have to retrieve it off the warning track. Well, McLaughlin is ahead of Rudy. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And now, 2-strike count. Tolan has moved over to right center field and has his arms outstretched looking at Johnny Bench. And it looks as though he's signaling the bench why he was playing him more straight away. Now he has moved to right center field, awakened perhaps by that line drive foul on the right field line. Spike with a breaking pitch, and Rudy strikes out, and McLaughlin, not having pitched in nearly a month, gets the side 1-2-3 at the end of 1. It's Cincinnati 1 and Oakland nothing.
Chrysler Plymouth. You know, they're famous for their engineering, constantly striving to build cars to run better and last longer than ever before. Like their big, plush 73 Chrysler New Yorker. And this has been going on for a long time. Did you know the original Chrysler introduced a revolutionary high-compression engine? And it was a Chrysler that adopted the idea of welding an automobile body and frame into a single solid unit of strength. And that was only the beginning. Now you get things like a standard electronic ignition system that's practically maintenance-free. You can even order an electronic digital clock if you want to. And there's an improved system of sound isolation for a new, quiet ride in a reclining seat. That's what they're talking about when they say extra care in engineering.
Chrysler New Yorker. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
Second inning at the Oakland Coliseum. Reds on top 1-0 on a first-inning home run by Pete Rose. Perez leads off for the Reds to face Catfish Hunter. Here's Jim.
Hunter ready to throw to Perez, who leads everybody in hits in this series. 7 for 14, hitting .500. Big, intimidating right-handed batter. Hunter, right-handed pitcher, throws, and there's a drive down the line in left field. It may make it in the corner. It is bouncing off the wall. Rudy is there, picks it up. Perez is on his way to second. Rudy drops the ball, and into second base goes Perez. First ball hitting. A double for Tony Perez. I didn't even have the chance to say that on Sunday in Cincinnati, Perez intimidated Hunter. He was 2 for 3 plus a walk and scored the only run scored against Catfish Hunter. 1-0 in this game, and now Menke is the batter. He has looked down to Alex Grammas, the coach at third base. George Sugar is the Reds coach over at first. Reds trying to get back in the series. They lead 1-0, and they've got a man on here, and that breaking pitch just misses the corner outside. Hunter, known for his control, has made a couple of pitches today that the Reds have jumped all over. Rose hitting his first pitch for a home run in the first, and Perez pulling it sharply down the left field line in the third. Back again, and this pitch is outside. He has not hit the corner, and it is 2-0. As quick as Sparky Anderson might be to go to the bullpen today, manager Dick Williams might be the same. They don't want to go back to Cincinnati. Hunter looks back at Perez, the runner, and is ready and throws, and there's a swinging strike. 2 balls, 1 strike. Now, Menke can hurt you with the long ball on occasion. Hunter has been working him strictly to the outside corner. He missed twice, and that swinging strike was on the outside corner of the plate. Hunter ready. Throws, and there's a bunt up the middle. They'll go to first base as he took a look at third, and the sacrifice works as Perez moves into third base. Hunter took a quick look, might have had the man, perhaps, at third base, and went for the sure out. Geronimo hitting 0-91, and now Bando's coming on to say something to Hunter, and the infield is talking among themselves. Geronimo 1 for 11, 1 RBI in the series. Left-handed batter. Reds expect great things of this youngster. Part of that big Houston-Cincinnati trade that worked out so well for both teams. Bando's in on the grass. Geronimo's there, swinging at a breaking pitch. Strike 1. Only run of the ball game, the leadoff home run on the top of the first by Pete Rose. Only his second hit of the series, and the first time he'd scored a run or driven in a run. Hunter looking into his catcher, Gene Tennis. Now stares over at Perez at third base, and now throws. It's backing him out of there. Fastball, high and inside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Geronimo, who's 1 base hit, scored a run, also hit a vicious line drive, pulling it to right over in Cincinnati, but they nevertheless play him around to the left to hit to the opposite field. Hunter back, and there's a ball popped up down the left field line. Over comes Rudy, still running. In foul territory, has it. Perez bluffs, and now to 2 out as Perez does not challenge the arm of Rudy. And that'll bring up Darrell Cheney. Cheney 0 for 6 in the series. Switch hitter, bats left-handed, of course, against the right-handed Hunter. Bando is signaling in to Williams in the dugout to see how they're going to play, and this is the way they're going to play. They're going to put Darrell Cheney on and get to the pitcher, McLaughlin. It has been a month since McLaughlin has batted in a ball game. Not a bad hitter for a pitcher, 126 lifetime, has had 3 lifetime home runs. There's ball 3 now to Darrell Cheney. Perez over there at third base. Bando standing right alongside of him, and now ball 4. Cheney takes first with 2 out, runners at the corners, and here comes the pitcher, Jim McLaughlin. Now Tennis, Bando, and Hunter, and you will find that the A's infield confers quite a bit. They have all kinds of plays, all kinds of contingencies, and they never let anybody just remember what they're supposed to do. They always get together and decide what it is they're going to do. Should McLaughlin, for example, try to squeeze home the run and reach base safely that way? McLaughlin, right-handed batter, right-handed pitcher, is in and ready. 1-0 the Reds. We're in the top of the second. The crowd rather quiet here as the Reds are threatening again, and there's a breaking pitch hit to center field. Hendrick coming on fast, still coming, and he gets there and takes it on the dead run. No runs on, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men are left. We can hold out at the last of the second inning. It is still Cincinnati 1 and Oakland nothing.
Ricky
me in the studio is Peter Barnes, one of the world's fastest talking announcers. He will attempt to tell you all the many features of Delta's total service in less than 1 minute. Ready, Pete?
Reservations confirmed in 3 seconds by Deltamatic computer. Instant printing of ticket by computer. Fares quoted are totally accurate. Tickets will be mailed to you if you wish. Curbside baggage check-in at airport. No extra charge for golf clubs or other sports equipment. Passenger service agents keep lines short at ticket counters. Comfortable waiting lounges. Covered jetways in most cities let you board your plane in any weather. A great fleet of 180 jets, including the wide-ride 747 and next the DC-10. Frequent flights to 99 cities in the Western Hemisphere. Superb meals on breakfast, lunch, and dinner flights. First-rate service every step of the way by the Delta professionals. Speedy baggage delivery when you land. Average time 7 minutes. Delta Dream vacations at low package prices.
Sorry, Pete, time's up, and you've just begun to cover Delta's total service. Why, you didn't even mention that people can charge their Delta tickets on the American Express Money Card and extend payments for airfare with the American Express Money Card Sign and Fly plan. Well, friends, for more information and reservations, call Delta or your travel agent. Delta is ready when you are.
Along with Jim Simpson, Al Michaels of the Oakland Coliseum. Reds on top 1-0. And Jim McLaughlin, who made the last out in the second, Catfish Hunter working out of trouble, gets set to face Epstein, Bando, and Hendrick in the bottom of the second inning. Here again is Jim.
Mike Epstein has been 0 for 10 in the series. He has walked 4 times. Left-handed batter dropped down in the batting order last night. Against the left-hander Don Gullett. Now again batting cleanup, the spot normally used by Reggie Jackson, the fine slugging center fielder of the A's who was injured in the final game of the playoffs and is out of the series. Epstein ready, and he gets a breaking pitch down low. Ball 1. Bob Engel, you know, everybody has things that they like to remember in their careers or in their life. Bob Engel of the National League is working his first World Series game calling balls and strikes in his career. Down low with the pitch, gets 2-0. So Bob Engel will remember this date. October the 20th, 1972. 1-0 the score. Epstein deep in the batter's box. Looks over the pitches a little bit more than most power swingers, and he looked at that one, and it just did stay outside. 3-0 to Epstein. Epstein looks down to Norn. He has a lot of power, led the A's in home runs. Now, fastball, it is too low. McLaughlin misses down low, and so we're talking about when you've been on the bench for a long time, control is the hardest thing to get back. McLaughlin had it in the first, walked Epstein on 4 pitches. And now Sal Bando, team captain, 3 for 15 in the series, and 2 of those hits last night, steps in. Reds lead it by a run. Rose's home run. The 11th man in World Series history to lead off a game with a home run. The last man to do it was Tommy Agee of the Mets 3 years ago. Down low and out of the strike zone. Low and away. And that's 5 straight pitches, including Pedro Bourbon, the sinking fastball pitcher. Starts to warm up. A lot of people have the reputation of being the quickest hook in the upper Midwest, the quickest hook in the South. Sparky Anderson will use that hook pretty good today. The Yankees pitcher, if he gets in any kind of control problem. Drive to center field. Bobby Cohen going back toward the warning track. Backs up, is there now, and has it. And Epstein was nearly at second base and must drop back to first. Long drive by Sal Bando. And that will bring up George Hendrick. 1 for 13. Hendrick, the 23-year-old youngster, has scored twice. He's in center field because Reggie Jackson is injured, and he'll get a hand because of the fine job he did with 2 men out and the runners at first and third running when he raced in to take McLaughlin's sinking line drive to end the second inning. 1-0 the Reds, 1 out. Epstein at first base. Perez holding him on. The pitch to Hendrick is strike at the knees. Norn again then looks into manager Dick Williams, who's right on the top step of that dugout. His head and shoulders protruding out beyond the dugout roof. McLaughlin ready, throws, breaking pitch, it's away and low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Bourbon continues to warm in the Cincinnati bullpen. And now the A's fans come alive a little bit. Their team is down 1-0. As the scoreboard begins to say, go, go, go. McLaughlin is ready for the 1-1 pitch. Fastball, it hits about 2 feet in front of the plate and bounced up to Johnny Bench. 2 balls, 1 strike. McLaughlin takes some of the dirt out of his spikes. Yanks on his sleeve, wipes his hand. steps on and looks in the bench. 2 balls, 1 strike. Epstein not particularly fast, but nevertheless they check him over there at first base with a throw to Perez, and Mike was only a few feet off the bag. Clay Hendricks swung around to the right to hit to the opposite field. Here's the pitch, and he hits to the opposite field. Down the right field line. Over comes Geronimo, and it's near the line and foul by about 5 or 6 feet. Geronimo never got to it, but Hendricks laced that ball the opposite way. 2 balls, 2 strikes to George Hendricks. Gene Tennis, who has hit 3 home runs in this World Series, is on deck. 2-2, McLaughlin staring in. Bourbon continuing to work in the bullpen. McLaughlin now ready. Fastball down the middle. It is snubbed up the third base line. McLaughlin comes over, throws to first base, and loses the ball. Everybody's safe. I don't know if he would have had Hendrick or not, but the ball simply slipped out of McLaughlin's hand and bounced to the left of the mound. It is a base hit. Down at second is Epstein. And here is Gene Tennis. Home run last night. 2 home runs in the first game. Only the second catcher in World Series history to hit 3 in a World Series. And Tennis steps in. The other one, Yogi Berra back in 1956 against the Dodgers. 1-0 Cincinnati. The tying run for the A's down at second base with 1 out. There is the possibility of the double play, and the Reds are looking for it. McLaughlin looks in, throws to Tennis. It's high, nearly up in the eyes. 1 ball. Tennis, right-handed batter, leans out over the plate. McLaughlin ready, throws high and away, and it's 2-0 to Tennis. Dick Green on deck as Dennis Menke dashes into McLaughlin. Jim McLaughlin's problem, you could almost anticipate. Perhaps he'll get out of this. Perhaps he'll go all the way. But he has not started a game in nearly a month. He's only pitched 1 inning in nearly a month. And control is something you just don't have every day, even when you pitch in regular rotation. 2-0. McLaughlin is ready. Throws, long drive, left field. Back goes Rose. Looks up, home run. His 4th of the year. 3-1 Oakland. Tennis laying back, knowing that McLaughlin was in trouble. He could not get the ball over the plate. Just picked on a McLaughlin fastball that was right down the middle and pulled it. No doubt about it. Rose went for the wall, but it was long gone. And the A's, who can wrap it up today, lead 3-1. And here is Dick Green with 1 out. McLaughlin throws. It's popped up behind home plate. Bench takes off his mask, but doesn't give chase as it falls in the seats. Tennis hit 5 home runs all year long. That's his 4th of this World Series. And he won his way into the lineup with his bat. Dave Duncan on the bench is the finer fielding catcher. Curveball misses inside to Green. 1 ball, 1 strike. Paper has been torn up and is fluttering down from many portions of the stands. The A's feel, perhaps not rightly so, at least their fans do, it's all over. Ground ball, Menke backhands to third base. Throws on over to first, and that's the 2nd out. And that'll bring up Jim Catfish Hunter, who now comes up with a 2-run lead. And in his last 13 games, Hunter has hit safely in 11 of those 13 and carries a .226 lifetime batting average. In the 2nd game of the World Series, he drove in the first run of the ball game with a base hit. So they respect Hunter and play him to pull a little bit, nearly straight away, but shaded ever so slightly toward the left. Breaking pitch catches the outside corner. Gene Tennis has tied a World Series home run for 4 home runs in a series. Wait till you hit the other 3. Breaking pitch catches the inside corner. The other 3 In 1926, Babe Ruth. In 1928, Lou Gehrig. In 1952, Duke Snider. Snider did it again, and then Hank Bauer, 1958. Hunter strikes out. But the A's get a hand as they leave the field. 3-run score on 2 base hits, including the towering home run of Gene Tennis. No errors and none left. And at the end of 2, Oakland 3, Cincinnati 1.
Hello, I'm Johnny Bench for Anco Windshield Wipers. Sometimes the man at your gas station reminds me of a third base coach. He'll look at your windshield wipers, and if they don't look as though they'll make it all the way, he'll hold you on third. Take his professional advice. If you have streakers, get fresh, new Anco wipers, and then no matter what the weather, you're ready to make the trip to home plate more safely. He'll put them on while he's filling your gas tank. That's Anco Windshield Wipers by Anderson.
Nothing can crack the turtle's back. Hey, nothing can crack the turtle's back.
Come detergent, grease, salt, weather, Turtle Wax comes through because nothing comes through the Turtle's hard shell finish. Shine your car to blinding brilliance in 25 minutes with Turtle Wax.
Turtle Wax gives a hard shell finish. Turtle Wax crack the turtle's back.
Turtle Wax in liquid or paste. Anything else is mock turtle.
They give a car to the most valuable player in the World Series each year, and I'd say at this point, Jim, Gene Tennis, he's almost in the driver's seat.
Now here's Pete Rose, who led off and homered on the first pitch from Hunter. Nevertheless, Bando comes in on the grass at third, realizing the Reds need runs, and Rose will try to get on. And pulls this one, a breaking pitch to right field for a base hit. Rose again, first ball hitting, and Hunter's control today, even though he has only walked one man and that intentionally. He's not been finding those corners. But there's a saying about Catfish Hunter, you got to get him early. If you do not get to him early, seldom do you get to him. He carries a season-long earned run average, third best in the American League of 2.04, and has allowed only a little bit better than a run in each of the 2 playoff games against Detroit and then the first World Series game that he pitched. Rose leading off. Here's Morgan, who is 0 for 14 in the series. He's in there, and he pops this one up to short center field. Campaneris and Green are back. Green takes it, and that's one out. Well, we'll repeat again that Gene Tennis, because Al was talking about the possibility of being the most valuable player. You never know what's going to happen in the World Series, but at least Al, he's got his name in the record books, and when you scan down the 4 home runs of the series and see names like Ruth, Gehrig, Snider, and Bauer, Tennis is going to have a pretty good winter and a pretty good life. Here's Tolan, popped out. The Campaneris at shortstop, back in the first, swings on the first pitch, and that's the best-looking Hunter fastball we've seen. He blew that right by Tolan. Strike 1 to Bobby Tolan. 3-1 the score. We're in the top of the third. The A's lead it. If they win today, the series is all over. Ready with the pitch, and took something off this, and again Tolan now tips it. And it's 2 strikes. Rose on at first base with his line drive single to right field. And Hunter out in front of Tolan, 0-2. The 0-2 pitch. Takes his time. Foul back. Fastball in on the hands, and he fouled it back. Hunter has a sinking fastball. The man who really has the sinking fastball in this ballpark is Pedro Bourbon, who was warming up. He gets everybody to hit it on the ground. Still 2 strikes to Tolan. Hunter ready. Tennis moves to the outside of the plate. It was not a pitch out. Might have been off, thinking something might be up. But that pitch was a good 6 to 8 inches outside, and that's exactly where Gene Tennis had his glove placed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sun now shining brightly here in Oakland. One of the rare times it has. This is a drive to left field. Back goes Rudy to the warning track, standing on the warning track and leaps up over the fence. A long drive to the opposite field by Bobby Tolan on a 1-2 pitch. Fastball that he just didn't get all the way around on. We pause 30 seconds for station identification. Hamilton and Fingers. Well, when manager Dick Williams saw that fastball, told him not completely get around on, go far to left field, he got his bullpen working. Now the batter is Johnny Bench, and he's up with a man on base. That's been a rarity in this series for Johnny Bench. He's got Rose at first with 2 outs. Bob Locker and Dave Hamilton are warming up in the A's bullpen. Hamilton the left-hander, Locker the right-hander. 3-1 the score. Hunter misses with a fastball outside, and it is quickly 2-0 to Johnny Bench. The outstanding thing about Catfish Hunter is his control. He hasn't walked anybody except the one man intentionally, but he's gotten too many good pitches over the plate. Now he took something off the breaking pitch, and that's a strike right down the middle. But even that strike with a breaking pitch, that's not where Catfish likes to put the ball. He wants that outside or inside inch of the 17-inch plate, not down the middle as that breaking pitch was. 2 balls, 1 strike. Rose again leading off at first base. Epstein holding him there, and there's a ball. Hendrick got a little slow break on it. Campaneris goes out, and Campaneris takes it over his head for the 3rd out. Hendrick was left rooted practically in center field. It was off the 5th defense. A run, 1 hit, no errors, and Rose left at first base. We go to the last of the 3rd, and it is Oakland 3, Cincinnati 1.
Flair. 49 cents. Lets you write the way you feel. Flair writes angry. Flair. Happy. 49 cents. Very, very small. Flair. Or 10 feet tall. Flair. Flair is different. No ballpoint, no pen point. Flair has a smooth, tough nylon tip that stays sharp. Flair. 49 cents. Flair.
It takes a pro to win in the big leagues, and it takes a pro like Gillette to make a handheld hair dryer and styler built for a man. New Max for Men. Plenty of power to dry fast, lots faster than heated combs, and fast drying means better styling. Comes with a training brush to smooth out waves and cowlicks, and a shaping comb to blow in body fullness. Get the natural look, fast, easy, with new Max for Men, the handheld hair dryer and styler by Gillette.
Campy Campaneris in the 3rd inning. Grounded back to McLaughlin, the pitcher, in the 1st, and Campy is now 3 for 16 in the series. Hasn't scored a run. He's the man that makes the offense go, but nobody's had an offense going in this series. All have been low-scoring, 1-1 ball games. Sparky Anderson said last night, you could have bet me that we'd score just 6 runs in 4 games. I can't believe it. Again, Menke moves in on the grass at 3rd base. Campaneris, right-handed batter, ready. Takes a breaking pitch as he swings at it. And it's a strike. Campaneris will be suspended for the first week of next season because of the bat-throwing incident in the playoffs. Another breaking pitch. Menke backhands it. It is a foul ball. Ball was not sharply hit. Menke did a good job to get his glove on the ball and would have been able to throw him out, but it was just across the foul line. McLaughlin quickly ahead of Campaneris, 0-2. McLaughlin ready and throws a fastball. Misses on the inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, this is the prettiest day that we have had since flying to Oakland, California, Sunday afternoon. Rained much of the week. There's a curved strike 3 call to Campaneris. Second strikeout for McLaughlin. Matty Alou, 1 for 14 in the series, comes up. Reds lead it by 2. We're in the last of the 3rd. Alou, the left-handed batter, has everybody expecting him to hit the other way. Alou beats out a lot of ground balls, bunts his way on, watches a pitch go low for ball 1. Alou and Maxville were incalculable in their aid to the rest of the A's because they'd been with the Cardinals, and in Cincinnati, they were able to tell them about how to play the infield there. Drive to right field. Over goes Geronimo to his right. Now has to come in 10 or 12 steps and has it for the 2nd out of the Oakland 3rd. That'll bring up Joe Rudy. Rudy struck out of swinging at a McLaughlin curveball to end the 1st inning. He's a Californian from Modesto, 5 for 16 now in the series. Mike Epstein swinging a bat on deck. Rudy with those 181 hits, led the American League in the strike-shortened season just concluded. McLaughlin, fastball, and it's lined the other way down the right field foul line, and that's curving foul. Rudy did the same thing back in the first inning. Tolan had been playing him in left center field. And after they saw a line drive go down the right field line, Tolan quickly switched over to right center field. He's starting out Rudy right there. That's where they've been playing except for that couple of strikes in the first inning. Everybody's been playing him to hit to right. Tolan was moved to right back in the first. Whoop, he is hit by a fastball. Never could have gotten out of the way of that one. Rudy, it was on him so fast it just hit him up above the rib cage. And again, the lack of work is showing in McLaughlin. Back in the second inning, he walked Epstein on 4 pitches and made 2 good hits to Gene Tennis, who hit a 3-run home run, and that's the game 3-1. Now here's Epstein. Mike looked over everything in the second inning and led off with that walk as McLaughlin missed on those 4 straight pitches. Now the Cincinnati bullpen again begins to get busy. 2 outs in the third, man on. Epstein waits and does not go around on a pitch, and now they're calling for the appeal play down to Jim Honachek at third base, and he says, nope, he didn't go around, that's ball 1. Bench quickly pointed with his gloved hand down to Honachek at third base. 1 ball, no strikes to Mike Epstein, who went to the University of California. He was quite a fullback there before he became a minor league player of the year, and then on to Baltimore and Washington and then Oakland. Back with a fastball, it is too low to Epstein. 2-0. Epstein is a great student of the kind of hitting that Ted Williams likes to talk about. Find out that pitcher's best pitch of the day and key off of it. Well, Epstein looks over a lot of pitches trying to key more than most big sluggers, as we said before. Back with a fastball, it gets away from Bench, but Rudy's going nowhere as Johnny quickly pounces on it. But it is 3-0, and Epstein has been up there now twice in this ball game and has seen 7 pitches out of the strike zone. Looking down to see with 2 out if he's got the red light to wail away. He is a left-handed hitter. Rudy is on. There are 2 out. McLaughlin has to come in with a pitch. Comes in with the fastball. He's swinging and grounds it to Perez, hitting on the 3-0 count. No runs, no hits, no errors, and Rudy left on base. At the end of 3, Cincinnati leads, or rather trails Oakland, 3-1.
I want to talk to you about a good-looking car. In fact, it's one of the best-looking cars around. The 73 Plymouth Satellite Sebring Plus. That's a long name, but it's a beauty. Chrysler Plymouth made me a drawing to show what's new about it besides looks. I showed it to you on TV. Did you see it? The drawing shows Sebring's new quiet exhaust system. There's a completely re-engineered suspension system up front. Rides as quietly as can be. And the new sound barriers in the roof, in the doors, round the wheels, all over the car. Under the hood, even behind the back seat. It's the quietest satellite ever built. Built to be seen, not heard. You'll like it.
Plymouth Satellite. Extra care in engineering. It makes a difference.
3-inning totals. Oakland 3 runs, 2 hits, and no errors. Cincinnati 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. All the scoring accounted for on homers. Rose with the bases empty for the Reds. Tennis, a 3-run homer for the A's.
Perez, the batter, swings at a breaking pitch, strike 1. Tony has more hits than anybody else in the series. He's 8 for 15, and he is 3 for 4, plus a walk against Catfish Hunter in the 2 games. Perez hit the home run in the 1966 All-Star game off Hunter that won it for the National League. Well, Hunter throws a breaking pitch outside, and again, that is way outside, and that, again, continues to tell us that Hunter does not have that pinpoint control that he's known for. 1 ball, 1 strike. Comes back with something off the breaking pitch. It's down low, and it's 2-1. Dave Hamilton and Bob Locker were up and throwing back in the 3rd inning. Nobody's throwing there now. 2 balls, 1 strike to Perez. Hunter back, throws the fastball, grounded toward Campanez at shortstop, takes it on the 3rd hop, guns it to first base, and Perez is out. Dennis Menke up for the second time. He sacrificed Perez over to third base back in the second inning. Menke has shown us some fielding at third base in this series. He has been a fine fielding third baseman, and he saw some fielding when Joe Rudy in the Sunday game robbed him of an extra base hit with a leaping grab in Cincinnati to save the ball game in the last of the ninth inning. Hunter back, and there's a drive. Left field, back goes Rudy at the wall, looking up. It's gone, and it's 3-2. All runs coming on home runs, and Menke has hit one here for Cincinnati.
Menke hit 9 during the regular season, and then he's had his problems in the World Series, 1 for 13, plus a sacrifice in the second inning, and out it goes. And all of the runs in the game accounted for on homers. Rose and now Menke with the bases empty for the Reds. Tennis for the A's. Jim, the Reds in Game 5 of the playoffs were down 3-1 to Pittsburgh and came from behind to win the game, so they'll have to do it again with their backs to the wall in the series here in Game 5.
Geronimo, who fouled out to Rudy. That Oakland bullpen is busy again. First pitch is outside. Well, we expected to see lack of control from Jim McLaughlin because he hasn't pitched. Hunter is the man that you expect to see good control. His pitches have been too fine, and they're picking on him. They've hit a couple of home runs. There's a breaking pitch. Geronimo swings and misses on, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1. Hamilton, left-hander. Locker, right-hander, throwing in the Oakland bullpen, and there's a fastball that's fouled off the mask of Gene Tennis. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oakland now leads by a single run, but what's new? All of the games prior to this have been won by a single run. 3-2, 2-1, 1-0, and 3-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Geronimo, left-hander, deep in the box. Waits, takes something off this pitch, and it's fouled off to the left. Geronimo had scarcely got his bat out there and just punched it foul to the left. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out in the Cincinnati fourth. Hunter ready to throw again, and there's a breaking pitch, but it's high and away, and it's 2-2. Tennis hit a 3-run homer, and you couldn't hear yourself think. On the home runs by Rose and Menke, Oakland Coliseum was absolutely quiet, as you would expect. Hunter back with 2-2, throws a fastball, and it's fouled back. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes to young Cesar Geronimo, who has had 1 hit in 12 times at bat in the World Series. Darrell Cheney, the switch-hitting shortstop, is on deck. Well, the Reds are hanging in there, a trail by run, and there's a drive that is just foul. It was right on the line until about a foot before the third base bag and then skipped foul, and Jim Honachek, third base umpire, quickly called it foul. Hunter with a new baseball looks into Tennis's catcher. The pitch, and it's fouled again to the screen, and we've got the same old count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rose homered in the first to make it 1-0. In the second, after Epstein walked and Hendrick was on with an infield hit, Tennis hit his 4th World Series home run to make it 3-1. In this, the Cincinnati fourth, Menke has just homered to make it 3-2, Oakland. Back with the pitch, it's a breaking pitch, and it's fouled off to the left again as Geronimo continues to battle Jim Catfish Hunter. The sun is out in Oakland. The lights that were turned on an hour before the game began remain on. Hunter back, and this is in on the hands. It's a breaking pitch, and he might have killed somebody in that Cincinnati dugout. Way out in front of a breaking pitch, in on his hands, and just pulled it foul into the Cincinnati dugout, and his teammates are waving their red caps at him. Usually they get white towels and wave those. But Geronimo continues to guard that plate. Hunter ready to throw again, and throws a fastball, and guess what? It's fouled off again. Still 2-2, with the bases empty and 1 out in the Cincinnati fourth. I'd like to welcome all of you who are listening in Europe, South America, all of the ships at sea, the Far East, Japan. The 2-2 pitch, fastball, and he fouls it to the screen again. Well, it was a short ball game until Cesar Geronimo stepped in. He and Hunter personally are making it a long ball game. Hunter now ready with yet another new ball and takes something off this one, and it's fouled off to the left. And pretty soon Alan Roth, our statistician, will send over a little piece of paper that'll say he has fouled off more pitches than anybody else in World Series history.
That might be the only statistic that Alan Roth doesn't have.
It is still 2-2. To Geronimo. He got him looking on a curve call, strike 3. Guessing the fastball, Geronimo saw the curveball duck in and over the plate. Strikeout number 2 for Hunter. And now with 2 out, here is Cheney, who with Perez at third base and 1 out of the second inning was walked intentionally the last time up. The Reds trail by a run. We're in the top of the 4th at Oakland. The A's lead the series 3-1. They win today, and the 72 baseball season's all over. It's a fastball, straightaway center field. Hendrick, with his glasses down and rather deep, takes the line drive off the bat of Darrell Cheney. 1 run on the only hit, Menke's first World Series home run. No errors, none left. We go to the last of the 4th. The A's lead the Reds 3-2.
My dear, I remember when traveling to Florida was an absolute delight. Oh, we were treated like royalty, believe me. At the airport, a skycap ran to the curb and checked in our luggage. As we strolled toward the ticket counter, a man in a red jacket directed us to the gate. And we never spent a minute waiting in line. Our jet was a wide-ride 747. Oh, my dear, the seats were the lap of luxury. And the food, well, my diet just went by the board. We had the most charming stewardess, too. I mean, truly professional. Oh, darling, the flight was all too short. And you know, our luggage actually beat us to the claims area. My out trip to Florida was such a joy.
Was that a long time ago, Grandma?
Just last month, my dear, when Grandpa took me to Miami on Delta Airlines.
Enjoy Delta's total service on your next trip. Charge your Delta tickets on the American Express Money Card. You can even extend payment for your airfare on the American Express Money Card Sign and Fly plan. Delta is ready when you are.
Al Michaels with Jim Simpson at the Oakland Coliseum. The A's come up in the bottom of the 4th. It'll be Bando, Hendrick, and Tennis, and this figures to be Jim McLaughlin's last inning. Ted Eulander was out on deck to hit for Mac had Cheney gotten aboard in the 4th inning, so it figures to be Jim's last inning of work as he tries to hold the A's close. It's 3-2 Oakland. Here's Jim Simpson.
All right, Al, after Epstein drew a walk in the second, Bando on a 1-0 pitch drove Tolan very deep in center field for his long drive. He's 0 for 1, 3 for 16 in the series. Right-handed batter, the team captain. McLaughlin ready and throws a curveball that catches the outside corner, strike 1. Bando had 16 game-winning RBIs during the regular season, and that led the A's. Strike 1 pitch, fastball, beat into the ground toward third base, but it's foul and will be picked up over there by Menke. Bando, with those 16 game-winning RBIs during the regular season, has no RBIs, and this is the World Series, nor has he scored a run. But there are a lot of people that can point to the same kind of statistics. 0-2, and he almost went for a breaking pitch. It was low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bando checked at the last moment. Sal hit 15 home runs during the regular season. Back again with a fastball that is way outside, and it's 2-2 to Bando. In the Oakland 4th, the Reds trail the A's by a run. It's 3-2 Oakland. Lots of sunshine. Outfielders keep fooling with their glasses. This ball again hits in front of the plate and bounces up to bench. This is the first full count of the ball game we've had by either pitcher. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Sal Bando. We had a 3-0 count to Epstein. He was given the red light and grounded to first base. Three-two pitch is way outside. Bando draws the walk. Second walk given up by McLaughlin. And that'll bring up Hendrick. And again, that Reds bullpen gets busy. Hendrick nubbed a ball to the left of the mound in the second, and I doubt that McLaughlin could have thrown him out. But as he came up with the ball slipped out, and Hendrick was given a deserved base hit. Morvone is the man throwing again for the Reds. Well, Hendrick is now 2 for 14 in the series. Menke's creeping in. Hendrick squares around the bunt. It's a breaking pitch, and it's outside, ball 1. In games like we've seen through the first 4, 1 run is something to have, but if you can get a 2-run bulge, you'd be home free, at least the way the games have gone before now. So McLaughlin threw him a breaking pitch as he tried to bunt. Now he checks to keep Bando, who runs fairly well, close to first base. 1-0 to Hendrick. Menke begins to creep in again. Here's the pitch, and he misses outside and low. Well, one of the rules of thumb, not necessarily always true. If you want here comes Sparky Anderson. You want somebody prepared to bunt, you try to get the ball up high so he'll pop it up. McLaughlin has been missing low and away, and it's 2-0. Let's pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Thoroughbreds, the Trotters, Aqueduct, Roosevelt. That's racing. And OTB's got it all. With 2 daily doubles, 7 exactas, and a superfecta every day. New York City's Off-Track Betting Corporation. We've got it all.
WNBC AM and FM New York.
Sparky Anderson has done something he really wanted to avoid. He has to bring a new pitcher in, and it's Pedro Bourbon. And the reason he was hoping McLaughlin could get out of the inning was that he was going to hit for him in the 5th. Now the way things stand, Bourbon either has to lead off in the 5th inning or Anderson has to use a pinch hitter and then go again to the bullpen, probably to Tommy Hall, as Bourbon is called on. So he was hoping that Mack could get out of the 4th inning. He went 0-2 on Bando and then walked him, and now McLaughlin goes 2-0 on Hendrick and has to come out, and Bourbon is called in for the 4th time in 5 games. Bourbon worked last night. Pitched the 8th inning, gave up a hit, and then in the 9th, retired the first man. Then Marquez got a base hit off Bourbon. Pedro was charged with a run, but the winning run was charged to Clay Carroll as he took the loss with the A's coming from behind 2 in the 9th. So Bourbon set to work on Hendrick, 2-0 the count. Jim Simpson.
Now this is the 3rd time in the series that a pitcher has been working on a batter and has been taken out before he's completed pitching to that batter. Bourbon, sinker ball specialist, catches the outside corner with this fastball. It's a strike. Bourbon, I'm sure you know by now if you follow the World Series, has the sinking fastball, and you constantly are hitting the ball into the dirt if he's right, and he has been right for most of this series and much of the season. 2-1 now, the count. Now scoring around the bunt up the first base line, and it's off the glove of Bourbon. They flip over to Morgan covering as Perez picked it up, and the sacrifice works. Sacrifice bunt would be 1-3-4. Now the second goes Hendrick, and here comes Dean Tennis. Tennis, who hit 2 home runs in the first game, is going to be put on. He hit 2 home runs within the space of the last 24 hours, last night and today, and with first base open, we're going to put him on. A lot of people might forget also in the 9th inning rally by the A's last night as they picked up 2 runs to win. Tennis had a very important single up the middle in that rally to keep it alive. There's ball 3 to him. Bando is down at second base. There's 1 out in the 4th. There's ball 4. Oakland leads 3-2 and looking for more. Dick Green is out on deck. But right there with him is Gonzalo Marquez. And Green is going back. And Marquez is coming on. Marquez, as a pinch hitter, has been 2 for 3. And last night, with 1 out in the 9th inning, Marquez started things off with a single up the middle. Later scored the tying run. Marquez, a left-handed hitter. Goes up there to swing the bat. The single he got last night was off the pitcher he faces today, Bourbon. Bourbon ready and throws, and there's a ball pulled just outside the first base line. Perez was not guarding the line that closely, and the ball sailed past him on the ground, and the runners will have to return. The infield is a double play depth. thinking they've got an excellent chance with a good sinker ball pitcher, Bourbon, the man working. As the ball hits the shallow center field, might drop in there. It does. Around third base comes Bando. Nolan's up with the ball. The throw is to third base. The headlong slide. Everybody's safe, and it is 4-2 Oakland. As Bando scores, Tennis goes to third with a head first slide. And Marquez has done it again. And Jim Hunter, a fine hitting pitcher, is coming up. Hunter 1 for 4 in the World Series, has an RBI to his credit. And Gonzalo Marquez, who won, and now Alan Lewis races out, and he will run for Marquez, who gets an ovation. Marquez is now 3 for 4, all as a pinch hitter, and all in difficult situations. The infield looking into the dugout now. They are in close at the corners at the moment. Still looking for the double play. In the middle is Cheney and Morgan back up. Perez is holding Alan Lewis. Menke even with the bag at third. And there's the attempted bunt, and they've got Tennis hung up off third base. He is tagged out there, and Tennis pushes away on Menke. Is down to second base goes Alan Lewis. Hunter missed the bunt, and they caught Tennis off third base. Marquez is, or rather, Lewis is down at second base. And it's 1 strike to Hunter. 4-2 the score. 6 runs in this ball game, and that's the most that have been scored in any ball game, and we're not yet half over. Breaking pitch from Bourbon, a curveball. On Hunter looking, and it's quickly 2 strikes. Tennis really put a heads-up block on Menke, and Menke tagged him out at third base. Fastball just misses outside. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tom Hall is up and throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen. Nobody active in the A's. They've had Hamilton Walker up throwing on 2 different occasions. There's a ground ball down the right side, and Adair in the coaching box at first base will take it. So Bobby Brown in 1947, Dusty Rhodes in 1954, Carl Warwick in 1964, all had 3 pinch hits for the series record. And add Gonzalo Marquez's name to that list. Pitch drive, center field. Tolan is there in right center field and comes in a few steps and one-hands it for the third out. But 1 run scores on just 1 base hit. The walk was costly. No errors and 1 man left. At the end of 4, the A's 4, the Reds 2.
Hello, I'm Johnny Bench, speaking for Anco Windshield Wipers. Did you ever think how many things must be running through a pitcher's mind when he faces a batter? He knows that guy from A to Z, and he tailors his pitch to him. The service station that sells Anco windshield wiper blades is something like that. A chart tells exactly what blade to put on what automobile. That's why with Anco wipers you can rely on a proper fit, the right blade for your car. Now, if your present wipers are streaking and blurring your vision, it's time to retire them. Replace them with a new pair of Anco windshield wipers that you and your family can depend on in the clutch. Look for the bright yellow Anco windshield wiper cabinet at service stations everywhere. It contains a lineup of outstanding performers that are all big league. You can make the change in seconds while you're having your gas tank filled. Anco windshield wipers by Anderson. And tell the man you heard Johnny Bench talking about Anco wipers. Wipers by Anderson. And tell the man you heard Johnny Bench talking about Anco wipers.
5th inning. At the Oakland Coliseum, the A's trying to wrap it up in 5, leading 3 games to 1 on top here, 4-2. Catfish Hunter will work on Ted Eulander to pinch hit for Bourbon, then Rose and Morgan. New second baseman for the A's, Ted Kubiak, and in the bullpen for the Reds, right-hander Gary Nolan is throwing alongside the left-hander Tom Hall.
Now Ted Eulander is 1 for 2 in the series. In the 5th inning of the Sunday game, he came up batting for Ross Grimsley against Catfish Hunter and lined a double to the opposite field. That's his 1 for 2. Left-handed batter, Bando in at third base. Hunter ready and throws him a curveball that stays outside. Ball 1 to Eulander. 4 runs on just 3 hits, but one of them was a 3-run home run. No errors for Oakland. 2 runs, both on homers. 4 hits, no errors for Cincinnati. Ball fouled away by Eulander. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. We're in the top of the 5th of what might be the final game of the 1972 World Series. The Reds have come from behind all year long. If they do, we go back to Cincinnati. If they don't, it's all over. 1 ball, 1 strike, and a fastball is fouled to the screen. 1-2 to Eulander. Gary Nolan and Hall continue to warm. Nolan, the scheduled starter today, as Al indicated, had some trouble with the shoulder, and McLaughlin got the call of it very well, considering that he has not worked much. However, he hung that one big pitch to Gene Tennis. Pitch misses inside. It is 2-2 to Eulander. On a right back with a fastball, it's hit foul off to the left, twisting toward the Oakland dugout and bounces a few feet in front of Sal Bando, who is pursuing it, and then up into the stands. 2-2 to Ted Eulander. Longtime member of the Minnesota Twins, then went to Cleveland, and then on down to Cincinnati. A rancher out in Texas. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They play him to hit to the opposite field, and that pitch is too low. The Hunter fastball misses low. 3-2. And this is the first time that Hunter has gone all the way on a batter. On a 3-2 pitch, he throws him a fastball. It's grounded to Epstein, who blocks it, waves off Hunter, and Eulander is out. That'll bring up Pete Rose. Well, you wonder as Pete Rose comes up just how good or how bad Hunter will make this first pitch be. First pitch in the first inning, Rose homered. First pitch in the third inning, Rose lined a single sharply to right field. Switch hitter. 8 consecutive years a 300 hitter. He is a good one, batting left-handed against Hunter. Oakland leads it by 2 in the top of the 5th. Hunter is ready, and Rose is swinging, but this time he misses. Looks like Hunter's good sinking fastball. A strike to Pete Rose. What competitors they've got matched up there. Hunter and Rose, 2 of the best in baseball. Foul out of play, off to the left. Fastball again. The second fastball in a row that Hunter has thrown, Pete Rose. Joe Morgan, hitless in the series. 0 for 15 thus far, swinging a bat on the deck. They're playing Rose around to the left, even though he homered. There's a pitch. Well, Tennis thought he had called strike 3. Just off the corner, says Bob Engel. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Started to say Hendrick and Rudy are playing Rose around to the left, and yet Rose pulled his home run to right and pulled his single to right. Hunter might have told him that was my fault. He won't pull the ball again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Throws him a curveball, just misses the inside. And it's 2-2. Pitches just off the outside corner, and then a curveball just inside. 2-2 to Pete Rose, who steps back in. Hunter, the pride of Hertford, North Carolina. Born lives there. Throws, fastball, check swing. It's outside. Second straight full count. Hunter's control, despite the fact he's gone to 3-2, looks much better in this 5th inning than it has all along. Those pitches that have missed have just been out of the strike zone. They haven't been way outside or way inside or way high or low. Comes back and there's a ground ball. Campaneris in back of second base. Has it, throws to get the speedy Rose and has him by half a step. Two out in the Cincinnati 5th, and Joe Morgan hitless in the series. And he is grounded back to the pitcher and popped up to the second baseman in this game. The A's infield now, since Green was batted for by Marquez, is Epstein at first, Kubiak at second, Campaneris at short, Mando at third. Outfield remains the same. Rudy in left, Hendrick in center, Alou in right, Tennis now, flashing the signs to Hunter as pitcher. 4-2, Oakland, top of the 5th. Hunter throws a curveball outside. Now Tennis goes out to talk to Hunter. But unlike other innings, when Hunter's had a little problem, they've had men in the bullpen. Apparently the feeling is on the bench here that Catfish has better control now than he had in the early going. And for the Reds, that could mean bad news. Hunter ready again. Tennis behind the plate. Throws the fastball low and inside, and it's 2-0. Epstein guarding the line at first base. Big hole between Epstein and Kubiak. Breaking pitch is outside, and it's 2-0. Make that 3-0. Morgan takes, and it's way outside, and Joe draws the walk. That is the second walk given up by Hunter, and the other one was an intentional walk. This was on 4 pitches, and with that in mind, quickly Williams goes back to the bullpen. Now, Vida Blue has been in that bullpen all through the series, but if we go to Cincinnati tomorrow, Blue will be the Oakland pitcher. Hamilton is there now, and Raleigh Fingers has replaced Bob Locker as the right-hander in the Oakland bullpen. Here's Bobby Tolan, 0 for 2, drove Rudy deep to the warning track last time up. There goes Morgan running, and there's a drive to right field. It'll get in there. Morgan is on his way around second base to third base. Alou is over, and Morgan will score all the way from first base. Now they've got the man off first base, but nobody is covering there because of Morgan running on the plan. It is 4-3. Tolan was able to take the long turn at first base as Morgan was running all the way. And with nobody there, he was able to get back in plenty of time. Now, last night, when Tolan doubled, Morgan was running on the pitch, and 2 runs were able to score on Bobby Tolan's double. Today, with Morgan running and Tolan swinging, he scores all the way from first on a single, and Dick Williams is coming out. He may have seen enough. Hunter looked pretty good at the top of this inning, getting Eulander and Rose with good pitches, although he was behind the batters. Then he quickly lost his control, and on 4 pitches walked Morgan. Tolan hit the first pitch he saw and lined a single to right. And it's 4-3, and the Reds have crept back within a run again, and now they're saying, we want Raleigh Fingers to pitch to Johnny Bench. Bench walks back, and Fingers is going to come on in. Fingers has been quite a pitcher, Al. Worked 4 2/3 innings. Has not allowed a run and only 1 hit.
And he's a durable pitcher, too. That's the thing that's been so impressive. He's pitched in all 5 games, 3rd day in a row. He had the 2 off days. Everybody did Monday and Tuesday. But Fingers is coming on for his 5th appearance in the World Series, and an early spot in the game, Jim. For him, he's normally a late man. The hand is for Hunter. But Dick Williams wants him in this situation because Johnny Bench is the batter. Key man to get right here, tying run at first base. The Reds, of course, able to pick up a run here in the 5th because of the speed of Joe Morgan. He walked, immediately went, and then Bobby Tolan singled. Normally, Morgan would have gone as far as 3rd, and that's all, but he had a good jump. Ball died on the grass, and then Lou had to come in and pick it up. And Tolan, despite being held to a single, picks up a run batted in with Morgan scoring all the way from first base. Well, if you like collecting things, why not try something with a sure payoff? United States Savings Bonds. You can buy bonds right now through the payroll savings plan. It's easy, it's painless, and it's sure. A few dollars out of each paycheck soon adds up to a lot. And along with your nest egg, you'll collect peace of mind. Start buying U.S. savings bonds now. Join payroll savings. Johnny Bench will be the batter. Bobby Tolan at first base. 2 down, 5th inning. Here again, Jim Simpson.
Johnny Bench, who led the major leagues in home runs and RBIs, has neither in the World Series, and this is the spot for Bench and the Reds and their fans in a 4-3 ball game in the top of the 5th inning. The first ball game, which we've had as many as 7 runs. This is by far and away the most loosely pitched ball game of the series. Fingers, right-hander ready. Stares over, and there goes the runner, Tolan. Here's Tennis's throw down to second base, and he's in with the stolen base as the ball slips away, but Tolan had the throw beaten. Stolen base, and the tying run is now down at second base. The pitch was a strike to Bench. 4 runs, just 3 hits. No errors for Oakland. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for Cincinnati in the top of the 5th. They play Bench around to the left end very deep. Campaneris back at the edge of the grass at shortstop. Bando deep at third base. Here's the pitch. It's outside the breaking pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. 5 consecutive games for Rowdy Fingers. And in 7 postseason games going back to the playoffs, he's allowed 1 run, 5 hits in 10 innings that he has worked. Bullpen remains busy. Fingers looks back, throws that sweeping pitch, and that's a strike on the outside corner. Bench checked his swing, and I don't believe that Bob Engel, the home plate umpire, is saying that you went around, but rather it caught the outside corner of the plate. Bench is down, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Rowdy Fingers. Tying run, Tolan very fast out at second base. Good lead off second base. Fingers nods his head. He's ready. Here's a pitch, foul, just off the end of the bat of Johnny Bench. Just did get a piece of it. 1-2. Cincinnati got a run in the first on Rose's home run. Tennis's 3-run homer got Oakland on top. Nobody scored in the third. Each scored a run in the fourth, and Cincinnati's had added a run here in the fifth. It's 4-3. 1-2 to Bench. Fingers looks at Tolan, comes back, and the bat goes flying. Look out, and it's a foul ball. Went in front of the plate, but it hit the plate, and Bench now must go over. Well, the Cincinnati bat boy runs all the way over to the Oakland dugout and gets the bat back from the Oakland bat boy and hands it to Bench. Bat went flying. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cincinnati bullpen busy, Oakland bullpen busy. Bench. Ball gets away from Tennis. It's low and away. Tolan comes around third base, slips as he now gets back toward third base, as standing at home plate is Rowdy Fingers. Breaking pitch, low and away and in the dirt, and got under the glove of Tennis. Two balls, 2 strikes to Bench. Wild pitch. Now the tying run is at third base. Here's the pitch, and Bench is called out looking at a curveball on the outside corner. He struck out 2 times in this game, and Bench has not had a good series driving and run, nor has he had the opportunity, but he had it then to tie it up. 1 run scores on the 1 base hit by Tolan. No errors, and Tolan was left at third base. We go to the last of the 5th, and Oakland leads Cincinnati by a single run, 4-3. Crushed, wet, broken, lost. That's a match for you. And that's why now there's Cricket, the new disposable butane lighter by Gillette. It's light, rugged, and reliable. The Cricket lighter is good for thousands of lights, which means it lasts for months. Time after time, light after light, Cricket gets the job done. If midnight black or fire red, it's more than a match for any lighting problem. Cricket, the new disposable butane lighter by Gillette. Only $1.49. Now we've gone halfway. 4 runs, 3 hits, no errors for Oakland. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for Cincinnati. And as we go to the top of the last of the 5th, will be Campaneris, Alou, and Rudy. Hey, are you one of those guys who turns into a roughneck every morning? Does shaving leave your neck rough and irritated? If it does, let me tell you about a special kind of Gillette Foamy Face Saver, specially made for you roughnecks. Face Saver has 25% more lubricants than any other foamy shave cream. A better protection against shaving irritation, even on the most sensitive part of your face, your neck. So if shaving irritates your neck, get Foamy Face Saver for the roughnecks. The 5th inning, Campaneris, Alou, and Rudy. And the voice of the Cincinnati Reds. And the Reds are still hanging in there, Al Michaels.
Thank you, Jim. The new pitcher will be Tom Hall. He's the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon. Jim McLaughlin started, Pedro Borbon in the 4th, and now we see Tom Hall making his 2nd World Series appearance in the bottom of the 5th. Hall worked 2 innings, allowed no runs, 3 hits in Game 2 on Sunday. Bert Campaneris grabbed it out in the 1st inning, struck out in the 3rd. 3 for 17 in the World Series. Right-hand batter with Menke playing in on the grass at 3rd. The line by Hall in his first pitch, a breaking ball in for a strike, 0-1. Most of the A's familiar with Tom Hall. Spent a few years with the Minnesota Twins and was traded last winter for Wayne Granger. 10-1 during the regular year. Campaneris hits a high fly to deep left field. Pete Rose backing up on the run, reaches up, makes the catch at the edge of the track. Great play by Rose. The Reds playing Campaneris shallow, and Pete racing back on the dead run. Makes a one-handed catch at the edge of the track. So Campaneris gets robbed. One out in the fifth inning, and up comes Matty Alou. Grounded out and flied out in 2 trips. Alou's had a long World Series, 1 for 15. Left-hand batter. Spray hitter, outfield around toward left. All to the plate, inside ball 1. Everybody in the infield is shallow. Menke in on the grass about 70 feet from the plate. Cheney and Morgan halfway. Perez even with the bag at first. Hall back 1-0, and the pitch swung on, a comebacker. Hall up with it, throws to first, 2 down. Joe Rudy, the batter. Struck out in the first, hit by a pitch in the third. Pedro Borbon worked 1 inning, charged with no runs, 1 hit, 1 walk, no strikeouts. Jim McLaughlin has been charged with all 4 A's runs. Gene Tennis a 3-run homer in the second, and then McLaughlin walked Bando, with Bando scoring in the 4th. Joe Rudy, 5 for 16 in the World Series, right-hand hitter. Outfield is straight away. Ball to the plate, and Rudy chops it foul off to the left. 0-1. If we have a 6th game, we'll be in Cincinnati tomorrow at 12:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Game time 1 o'clock. Flying a blue, the A's pitcher, Ross Grimsley for the Reds. Strike 1 pitch to Rudy. Breaking pitch missing inside. A slider, 1-1. All very thin. They call him the Blade. But he throws about as hard as anybody on the staff. Pitched the Reds' first complete game this year. Came out of the bullpen to do it after the season was a month old. 1-1 pitch, he blew it by him, swung on and missed, and it's 1-2. All one of the more valuable Reds this year because he was a short man, a middle man, a long man, and every once in a while he made a start. 10-1 during the regular season. 1-2 to Rudy, swung on and missed, strike 3. Got him on a slider, and down go the A's in the 5th inning. Oakland out 1-2-3, and that's the first time that's happened since the first inning. At the end of 5 full, Oakland 4, Cincinnati 3.
Hi, this is Joe Garagio. Yes, sir, it's World Series time, and that's the time when managers depend on the players to put out extra effort and performance. And like a manager, you want dependable performance from your car, like the performance you'll find in the big Dodge. You see, Dodge Polara gives dependable performance with Dodge's new electronic ignition system that delivers up to 35% more starting voltage. There's also the dependable performance you'll get from an electronic voltage regulator, which gives you longer battery life by making sure over nor undercharged. And then there's the smooth ride and handling you'll get with the big Dodge's Torsion Quiet Ride. It's a result of torsion bars and leaf springs for control, and rubber isolators and sound deadening material for a quiet ride. And it won't cost you anything extra to put Dodge dependability on your car. These features are standard on all the big Dodge models this year. See them today at the Dodge dealer near you.
From the Oakland Coliseum in California, let's pause 30 seconds for station identification.
If you like fantastic savings, go to W&J Sloan's 14 Furniture Clearance Centers, your immediate delivery shops, Saturday and Monday for the sensational Veterans Day sale. Millions of dollars worth of furniture by Baker, Henriton, Heritage, Drexel, and other greats, plus bedding, rugs, all 20 to 60% off the original prices. See the ad in Sunday's New York Times for the Furniture Clearance Center nearest you. Come save. There's no waiting. Everything is for immediate delivery at the Sloan Furniture Clearance Centers. WNBC, AM and FM,
Hello,
New York.
From Oakland, Jim Simpson with Al Michaels. We go to the Cincinnati 6th, and, well, it's a typical World Series ball game in that it is a 1-run ball game at the moment, with Oakland leading 4-3. Concepcion is running down to the Reds bullpen, so perhaps Cheney will be batted for. Here in the 6th inning, Perez will lead it off, and here's Al Michaels.
Tony Perez doubled in the second, grounded out in the 4th, takes down low, ball 1. Catfish Hunter cannot win the game. He didn't work the minimum 5. It's Finger's game to win. Raleigh coming on with 2 out in the 5th inning to strike out bench. 1-0 pitch, missing low, ball 2. 2-0. Menke on deck, then Geronimo. Wayne Simpson and Gary Nolan in the Reds pen. 2-0 pitch. Perez swings. It's a grounder on 2 hops to Campaneris. Easy play, and the shortstop gets in. 1 away. Dennis Menke coming up. Sacrificed in the second. Homered to left in the fourth. 2 for 14 in the World Series. The Reds got a run in the first on a homer by Rose. The A's back with 3 in the second on a 3-run homer by Tennis. Menke homered in the fourth to make it 3-2. The A's got another in the fourth, and the Reds scored in the fifth. Breaking pitch, a strike, 0-1. Geronimo on deck. 1 out, bases empty. Strike 1 pitch on the way. Fastball to strike on the outside corner. 0-2. Gonzalo Marquez, a base hit. That's the difference in the game right now. A run-scoring single in the fourth that tied a World Series record. His third pinch hit. Menke swings and misses. Down he goes. Boy, his finger's tough on right-handers. Now the left-handers will see what they can do with him as Geronimo comes up, due to be followed by Cheney. And then the pitcher spot. Cesar Geronimo fouled out to the left fielder Rudy in the second, struck out in the fourth. 1 for 13 in the World Series. Swings, it's a high fly ball to left field. Rudy flips the glasses down, starts to stumble, but maintains his balance and makes the catch backing up. Geronimo flies to left. The Reds go out quickly in the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. At the end of 5 1/2, it remains A's 4, Reds 3.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ammonia.
Ammonia who?
Ammonia gonna tell you this one time. Tune in Monitor this weekend and join me, Gene Rayburn.
Yeah, watch for me too, Joe Garagiola.
Joe, you can't watch anybody on radio.
Yeah, it's time we looked into that.
And here's something else we ought to look into. Do you realize that 60 million calories are consumed during every station break?
By who?
Mr. and Mrs. John Q. Public, that's whom.
Well, maybe they just got fed up with reducing diets.
Mayhap they did. But don't they realize that we serve up succulent tidbits, delicious gossip, lots of musical treats, and other various and assorted goodies every weekend on Monitor, none of which will add 1 iota to their weight?
Hey, I'll bet they'd really eat that up.
The Monitor diet. Try it.
Even as Tom Hall begins to pitch the 6th inning against Epstein, Bando, and Hendrick, Sparky Anderson already has his 2 right-handers, Nolan and Simpson, throwing in the Reds' bullpen. They're down by a run. The Reds trying to hang in and continue the World Series and send it back to Cincinnati for a 6th game tomorrow. Epstein steps in, and here's out.
Mike Epstein walked in the second, grounded out on the 3-0 pitch in the third. Facing Hall for the first time, he takes a curve for a strike on the outside corner. 0-1. Epstein hitless in the World Series, 0 for 11. But he got on base and scored on Tennis's homer today in the 2nd inning. Swings, it's a grounder on 2 hops to Perez at first, waves Hall away, makes the play unassisted. 1 first baseman gets the other, and Hall is set down. All 4 men he has faced. 1 out in the 6th inning. Tunes with Darrell Cheney comes up to pinch hit with 1 out in the 7th inning. So we'll see Simpson or Carroll in the bottom of the 7th inning. Dave Concepcion from Venezuela, 2 for 5 in the World Series. Right-hand batter waiting at the plate, takes a fastball for a strike on the outside corner. 0-1. Concepcion hit .209 this year, 2 home runs, 29 runs batted in. Fingers wide, strike 1 pitch on the way. Breaking pitch in for a strike, 0-2. On deck is Pete Rose. Fingers feet apart on the rubber. Takes a sign from Tennis. Rocks into his windup, and the strike 2 pitch on the way. Fastball just missing. Ball 1. 1-2. One out, nobody on. The 1-2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball, missing outside. Ball 2. 2-2 the count. 4 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for the A's. 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for the Reds. Fingers with the sign into his windup, and the 2-2 pitch on the way, missing inside, ball 3. So another full count. He goes 3-2 on Haig. Haig grounds out, and now Fingers 3-2 on Concepcion. And Raleigh calls time to tie his shoe. Outfield shading Concepcion toward right. Lando close to the line at third. Hegan close to the line at first. 3-2 on the way. Swung on, lifted in the air to center field. Hendrick has plenty of room. Starts to back up. Now in a step for 2 and makes the catch. 2 down. Pete Rose entered the game 1 for 15. Hit the first pitch of the game for a home run. Then singled in the third. Grounded out in the fifth. So Rose 2 for 3 today. 3 for 18 in the World Series. Switch hitter, batting left-handed. Rose waits at the plate. Fingers with the sign, delivers, and Rose takes a strike. 0-1. The wind and the strike 1 pitch on the way. Over for a strike at the outside corner, quickly 0-2. Rose angry with the call. Pete climbing back in. Fingers checking with Tennis. Into his lineup, and the strike 2 pitch on the way. Low and inside, ball 1. Rose skipping out of the way. Fingers ready, the 1-2 pitch on the way. Swung on, hit in the air to deep left field. Rudy backing up on the warning track and makes the catch up against the fence. So Rose a long way the opposite way, but Rudy with room, and down go the Reds in the 7th. No runs, no hits, nobody left at the end of 6 1/2. Oakland 4, Cincinnati 3.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Gilbert. This is Miss Ramsey. I'm conducting a survey. Would you mind answering a few questions about air travel?
I'd be glad to.
What airline confirms your reservation in 3 seconds?
Delta.
And which airline delivers your bags in an average of 7 minutes after you land?
Delta.
Can you name an airline that flies the wide ride jets, the 747, and soon the DC-10?
Delta.
What airline is known as the airline run by professionals?
Delta.
Which airline offers total service?
Delta.
Does the airline you fly most often accept the American Express Money Card? And does it let you extend payment for airfare on the American Express Money Card sign and fly plan?
Delta does.
Which airline do you plan to fly on your next trip?
Would you like to take a guess?
Delta is ready when you are.
As we come back, we'll let you listen to the crowd and what it's singing. Is the new pitcher. He's the man who set the Major League record with 37 saves during the regular season, but last night gave up singles to Tennis, Mincher, and Manguel in the last of the ninth, and he was the losing pitcher in the last of the ninth, and here he is again today to face Gene Tennis, Ted Kubiak, and Raleigh Fingers. Al?
Gene Tennis, probably the most valuable player in the World Series to this point, though Raleigh Fingers will get a lot of consideration. Takes the strike on the outside corner. Tennis hit a 3-run homer in the second, his 4th home run in the World Series. Drew an intentional walk in the 4th. 1 for 1, swings to the curve, grounds it fair inside third, and backhanded by Menke, who throws him out. 1 away. So many things have happened in this series that I think one thing that's been overlooked is the play of Dennis Menke. He has swept up everything in sight. Everything hit his way in the series. One out in the 7th inning, Ted Kubiak. Hits for the first time in the game, switch hitter up left-handed. Dick Green started. Marquez hit for Green in the 4th and singled. Now Kubiak, for the first time in the game, takes a pitch outside, ball 1. Kubiak, during the year, hit .205. First time he's been up in the series. 1-0 pitch is tapped slowly left to the mound. Carroll falls down as he picks it up and has no play. Ray Carroll slipping on the grass, going down, and an easy out is turned into probably a base hit. We'll see how they score it. Ted Kubiak, an infield single. And Raleigh Fingers comes up. Raleigh Fingers up for the first time in the series, right-hand batter. Fingers 6 for 19 during the regular season with 1 home run, 2 runs batted in. Menke ready to charge in at 3rd. Fingers around to bunt, lays one down in front of the plate. Bench has it, throws to 1st in time. Sacrifice works as Kubiak goes to 2nd. Play goes 2-4, Morgan covering. Bench to Morgan. Kubiak now at 2nd, and with 2 down, up comes Bert Campaneris. 5 play by Bench. Menke charging in, and momentary confusion when it looked like Bench was going to let Menke take it and vice versa, but then Bench picked it up and threw out Fingers at 1st with Morgan covering. Bert Campaneris, 0 for 3, 3 for 18 in the World Series. Right-hand batter. Menke, even with a bag at 3rd. Pitch on the way, breaking ball over for a strike. 0-1. Carroll making his 4th appearance in 5 games. Back to the plate he comes. Campaneris pops it up in foul ground back toward the screen. Bench giving chase, has no play. And the count is 0-2. And Lou is on deck. When the Reds bat in the 8th inning against Fingers, it'll be the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Morgan, Tolan, and Bench. Oakland leading 4-3. The Reds took the lead in the 1st inning. Rose a homer. The A's back with 3 in the 2nd. The Reds with 1 in the 4th. The A's with 1 in the 4th. The Reds 1 in the 5th. If you're scoring, Carroll hitting in the 8th spot. Concepcion staying in the game at shortstop. And Concepcion hitting in the 9th spot. Carroll set. Strike 2 pitch on the way. Called strike 3. Got him on a fastball on the inside corner, and the inning is over. So Campaneris strikes out. The A's go down to the 7th inning. No runs, 1 hit. Kubiak left at 2nd. And at the end of 7 full, Oakland 4, Cincinnati 3.
Announcing Elephant Malt Liquor. Yeah, it's kind of a funny name. Well, actually, it's named for the 2 imperial elephants that guard the gates of the Carlsberg Brewery in Copenhagen. That's in case you thought it was a drink for elephants. No, it's definitely for people. And you know, sometimes we hear the strangest things from those people, like Dick Breed.
Well, there was a time when I knew it all. Everything there was to know, that is, your dates, your cloud formations, your outbound trains from Pittsburgh, everything. Then, little by little, I started forgetting. Until I started drinking Elephant Malt Liquor. Right about then, it came back to me. Your 1620, your Serastratas, your 1234 outbound, everything. How about that?
Just a coincidence, you say? Well, even so, if Elephant Malt Liquor doesn't improve your memory, it's sure to be an improvement over anything else you're drinking. It's great by the bottle, superb by the 6-pack, and incredible by the trunk. Elephant Malt Liquor. You should try it. You won't forget it.
Brewed by Carlsberg Beer, Copenhagen, Denmark.
We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
Thoroughbreds, the Trotters, Aqueduct, Roosevelt, that's racing. And OTB's got it all, with 2 daily doubles, 7 exactas, and a superfecta every day. New York City's off-track betting corporation. We've got it all.
WNBC AM and FM, New York.
Along with Al Michaels, Jim Simpson back in Oakland, California at the Cincinnati 8th. In a one-run ball game, it is never over until the final out. Home run can always tie it, but when you look down the lineup and considering how hard Fingers is on right-hander, this should be their inning. Morgan, Tolan, and Bench.
Joe Morgan, the batter, leading off, bluffs a bunt, takes a pitch up high, ball 1. 1-0 the count. Joe Morgan grounded out in the first, popped out in the third, walked in the fifth. He is 0 for 15 in the World Series. Fingers winds and the 1-0 pitch on the way. Morgan takes high, ball 2. Activity in the A's bullpen. Right-hander Bob Locker and left-hander Dave Hamilton. In the Reds pen, Wayne Simpson. Fingers ready, back to the plate, 2-0. Morgan takes a strike, 2-1. Fingers came on in the fifth. He's faced 7 men, retired them all. He struck out 2. The right-hander ready, and the 2-1 to Morgan is up high, ball 3. 3-1 the count. Bobby Tolan waiting on deck. 4 runs, 4 hits, and no errors for the A's. 3 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for the Reds. Outfield shading Morgan toward left. 3-1 pitch on the way, way inside, ball 4. And so the Reds have the tying run on base. Morgan leads off with a walk. And I would have to say he is almost a cinch to go. Bobby Tolan, the batter. Morgan was going the last time he walked in the 5th inning, and because of it, the Reds picked up a run. Tolan singled to right center, and Morgan, because he was going, was able to score all the way from first on a single. Conference at the mound, Campaneris, Bando, Tennis, and Fingers. Bobby Tolan popped out in the first, flied out in the third, singled in the 5th. Now Campaneris leaves the meeting, and Dick Williams takes his spot in the World Series. The American League rule prevailing, only 4 people can be at the mound at any one time. So Williams makes one of his frequent appearances at the mound to talk about the possible bunt by Tolan, perhaps, just what he'll be doing as far as Morgan is concerned, holding Joe close if they can. Morgan second in the league during the regular season in stolen bases to Lou Brock. Morgan a big lead at first, held on by Hegan. Bando in on the grass at third. Tolan waiting as Fingers come set at the belt. A glance at first and a throw to first base, driving Morgan back. Morgan with 1 steal in the World Series. Big gap in right center in the outfield. Another throw to first base, and Morgan back in on his stomach. Tolan waiting at the plate with Johnny Bench due up next. Another throw, 3 in a row to first base. The A's have Hegan at first, Kubiak at second, Campaneris at short, Bando at third. Rudy in left, Hendrick in center, Alou in right. Fingers goes to first base again. Morgan back in on his stomach once more, so he's gone over there 4 straight times. Oakland leading 4-3. Ross Grimsley hustling down to the Reds pen. Pitch on the way, a pitch out, nothing doing. Ball 1, 1-0. Grimsley supposed to be tomorrow's starter, but Sparky Anderson's going to have Grimsley start heating up in the Reds bullpen. They'll worry about tomorrow later. Here's the 1-0. There goes Morgan. The pitch is a strike. The throw, not in time. He has it stolen, and so the tying run is at second base. Tolan bluffing a bunt, letting it go by. The pitch in for a strike, and Morgan stealing second base, his second stolen base in the World Series, and it puts the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. The count 1-1 on Tolan. Campaneris playing close to the runner as Morgan takes a short lead from second. Here's the stretch, and the pitch to Tolan around the bunt. He misses for a strike. 1-2. Tolan out of the box, adjusts his helmet, climbs back in, stands well up in the box, holds the bat high. Fingers on the rubber, checks with tennis. Morgan a short lead at second. Fingers set. 1-2 pitch to Tolan. Bobby at the line drive, base hit into right center field. Joe Morgan around third, and loose slips, falls down. The run scores. Tolan goes to second. So the Reds tie the game, and the go-ahead run is at second with nobody out. Bobby Tolan with 2 strikes, a base hit to right field. Joe Morgan coming in to score, and Lou slipped and fell down, and the ball rolled behind him, and Tolan goes to second. Johnny Bench will be the batter as the Reds tie the game. It is Cincinnati 4, Oakland 4 in the 8th inning. It's a single and an error charge to Alou. First error in the game. 1-1. Bench the batter. He's 0 for 3, facing Fingers for the second time. Raleigh to the plate. Bench bunts, and it is, let's see, it's either a foul ball or batter's interference. They call it a foul ball, and here comes Dick Williams. Bench bunting, and he wants the first base umpire, Haller, brought in for his observation on the play. Engel says no, it's simply a foul ball. Bench, had he touched the ball in fair territory, would have been out on batter's interference. Williams looking for markings before he heads back, puts up a mild beat, and then heads back to the dugout. So it's simply a strike, and the count is 0-1. Bando very deep at third, and Bench trying to bunt his way on. At worst, trying to get Tolan over to third with Perez on deck. 0-1 the count. Fingers set. A glance at second, and the pitch. Bench swings and misses. 0-2. Grimsley and Simpson in the bullpen for the Reds. Locker and Hamilton in the A's pen. Tolan at second, nobody out. Fingers is set. Here's the strike-2 pitch on the way. Bench swings, grounds it to Bando at third. He looks Tolan back, throws to first for the out. 1 away. So they get Bench. Johnny is now 0 for 4 today. And up comes Tony Perez, who doubled in the second, grounded out in the fourth, grounded out in the sixth. Cincinnati, 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Oakland, 4 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error. By far the most offensive production for either club in the World Series. We've had 3-2, 2-1, 1-0, 3-2 last night. Today a slugfest, 4-4. Fingers to the plate. Perez takes a breaking ball down low, ball 1. Slider missing, 1-0. Perez is 8 for 17 in the series. Bobby Tolan the go-ahead run at second. The next pitch to Perez is fouled back, and the count is 1-1. Menke is on deck. When the A's bat in the bottom of the 8th inning, they have their 2, 3, and 4 hitters, Alou, Rudy, and then Hegan, who came on for Epstein in the 7th. Cincinnati 4, Oakland 4 in the 8th. Fingers set. Checks Tolan. Back he comes, and Perez, check swing, comes around and misses. 1-2. Wicked slider. Breaking stuff to the right-hand batters. The Reds have been unable to do anything with it. The left-handed batters have been the ones who've done the damage off Fingers. He's had the right-handers eating out of his hand. No pun intended. Fingers set. 1-2 pitch on the way. Tolan goes. The pitch strike 3 to throw to third. And they do not get him. He is safe at third. And Sal Bando is really mad. Bobby Tolan steals third. Williams out to argue as Perez strikes out. So there's 2 down. And the go-ahead run is now at third. Sal Bando taking an almost perfect throw from tennis. A low throw, actually, that skipped just in front of his glove. He was able to dig it out, and Tolan able to get in. On the call by the third base umpire, Honachek. Instant replay on TV might incur the wrath of a few Oakland fans, you might say. Looked like he had him. Williams, after arguing with Honachek, goes to the mound to talk to Fingers. Menke is the batter. Menke sacrificed in the second, homered in the fourth, struck out in the sixth. Two down. Bobby Tolan at third. A 4-4 tie. Eighth inning. Finger set, and the pitch to Menke is swung on and missed. The slider, 0-1. Outfield around toward left, infield back except Bando at third. He's even with the bag. Fingers working out of a stretch. Tolan a short lead. And the pitch on the way. Menke swings, stops, hits it at the plate. 0-2. Geronimo on deck. Fingers set. Strike two pitch on the way. Menke swings, grounds it foul outside third. The Reds with single runs in the first, fourth, fifth, and here in the eighth. The A's with 3 in the second, 1 in the fourth. A 4-4 tie, 2 out. Tolan at third, eighth inning. Fingers set. Looks at Tolan, back he comes, and the pitch just off the plate outside. Ball 1. 1-2. The right-hander is set. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. Swung on, pop foul, out of play. Back of the plate. Menke is 2 for 15 in the World Series. He had 233 during the regular season, 9 home runs, 50 runs batted in. Most productive month was August. Fingers set, and the 1-2 pitch on the way is a check swing foul. Menke just getting a piece of wood, fouling it off, staying alive, protecting the plate with 2 strikes, 1-2 the count. The Reds tied the game here in the eighth. Morgan walked, stole second, scored on a single by Tolan. Fingers ready again. 1-2 pitch to Menke is swung on and missed, strike 3. So the Reds tie the game, and then Fingers shuts the door with Tolan at second and nobody out. He gets benched Perez and Menke, and the Reds have to settle for 1. 1 hit, 1 A's error. The run is earned. And 1 runner left on at the end of 7.5. Cincinnati 4, Oakland 4.
Hello, this is Johnny Bench speaking for Anco windshield wipers. And I'd like to talk to service station men who display the big, bright, yellow Anco windshield wiper service cabinet. You're in a top position for bringing your customers home safe. And I'll tell you how. Many customers have wipers that streak their windshields, and believe me, in a driving rainstorm or snowstorm, they couldn't find first base on their hands and knees. It's especially bad on drivers with those hidden windshield wipers because in fair weather, they forget all about them. Now, you know the best wipers are made from pure rubber, and the best rubber goes bad from wind, sun, and heat from the engine, and it hardens. Wipers need replacing after about 6 months, or there could be danger ahead. It's up to you to ask every driver if his windshield wipers are streaking. If the answer is yes, they need fresh wipers right now. Suggest a pair of Anco windshield wipers, properly fitted to the car's windshield. You can bring your customers home safe with Anco wipers. Anco by Anderson.
From Oakland, California, with Al Michaels, this is Jim Simpson. This is the 5th game of the World Series. Oakland leads 3-1, and this is just like all the rest. Apparently, it will be decided by 1 run as the first 4 were. Al?
The number 2 batter, Matty Alou, leads off and takes a strike. In the bottom of the 8th inning, it'll be Alou, Rudy, and Hegan to face Clay Carroll. Ross Grimsley throwing in the Cincinnati bullpen. Carroll into his lineup, and the strike 1 pitch on the way is outside, ball 1, 1-1. So Carroll and Fingers, pitchers of record, just as it was last night. 1-1 on the way, misses outside. Fastball spinning away, ball 2, 2-1. Alou 0 for 3. He is 1 for 16 in the series. 2-1 on the way, is chopped on the ground slowly, right side. Perez falls down, flips to Carroll, covering just in time. Confusion on the part of the Reds. Perez didn't know whether to go back to first to cover there and let Morgan or Carroll take it, or whether to go over and pick it up. He hesitated, then continued on, and slipped and fell down, and from his stomach threw to Carroll a perfect throw, and Clay's right foot on the bag just ahead. Evalu going in, one away. Rudy, the batter. We've seen more guys fall down on the grass in this series, but that's understandable because of all the rain the field took, including the rain out we had on Tuesday night. That was the 10th straight day of rain in the Bay Area. So it's still slippery. It's muddy. Rudy is the batter. Struck out in the first, hit by a pitch in the third, struck out in the fifth. 0 for 2 today, 5 for 17 in the World Series. Right-hand batter with a very closed stance. He takes outside, ball one. For one of the very few times today, there's no activity in either bullpen at the moment. Reds 4, A's 4. One out and the base is empty. The next pitch, a strike, and the count even, 1-1. On deck is Mike Egan. Carroll rocks to his motion, back to the plate, slider swung on and missed, 1-2. When the Reds come up in the ninth, they are due to send up Geronimo, the 7-hitter, then Carroll, who is batting in the 8 spot, and Concepcion hitting in the 9 spot. Jack Billingham starts to throw in the bullpen for the Reds. 1-2 on the way, missing outside, 2-2. Billingham due to be the starter if we go to Game 7 on Sunday. Carroll winds the 2-2 to Rudy. Breaking pitch is very high in the air to left center field. It's deep but very playable. Rose is there, calling, makes the catch. 2 down in the 8th inning. Rudy getting good wood, but just getting under it a bit. Mike Keegan up for the first time in the game. Went in defensively for Epstein in the 7th inning. Epstein was 0 for 2 today and 0 for 12 in the series. Mike Keegan hit .329 during the year. Had 1 home run, 5 runs batted in. Left-handed batter. Carroll's first pitch misses low, ball 1. Keegan is 0 for 3 in the World Series. 2 out, bases empty, game tied in the 8th. Carroll back to the plate, in for a strike, 1-1. Carroll, born in Clanton, Alabama, makes his home in Bradenton, Florida. Rocks to his motion, deals 1-1. Breaking pitch, grounded towards second, fielded by Morgan as he ranges to his right, throws not in time. Keegan beats it out. So the A's have the go-ahead run on base with 2 down as Mike Keegan beats out an infield roller. Very close play at first base. Bando, the batter. Salas flied out, walked, grounded out. 0 for 2. Bando 3 for 17 in the series. Good power. Outfield around toward left. Minky well back at third as Carroll deals a fastball up high. Ball 1. 1-0. Cincinnati 4. Oakland 4. 2 down. Keegan at first base in the 8th. Carroll set, a glance at the runner, and the pitch on the way is lined into center field for a base hit. Mike Keegan around second, on his way to third, and the throw comes into Morgan at second. So the A's with a go-ahead run at third. George Hendrick being called back. Let's see if they send up Mincher, the left-handed batter. Yep, that's who it'll be. It's going to be Mincher batting for Hendrick. So Don Mincher, one of last night's heroes, hit the first pitch from Carroll last night out into right center for a base hit that tied the game in the 9th inning, and then Monguel, the base hit that won it. And Menke and Morgan visit Carroll at the mound as Don Mincher gets set to come up for the second time in the World Series. The A's have gotten enormous strength, value from their bench in the regular season. And of course here in the World Series today, another example, Gonzalo Marquez came off the bench in the 4th inning. A base hit that drove in at that point the run that looked like it might be the difference until the Reds tied the game in the 8th inning. Sparky Anderson is going to the mound, walking very slowly. Billingham and Grimsley in the bullpen. Anderson's got to figure if he wants to bring Grimsley in here, will the A's then go to the bench and perhaps send up Dave Duncan or another right-handed batter? So while Sparky contemplates, we'll pause 30 seconds for station identification.
This week, come to...
Sparky contemplates. We'll pause 30 seconds for station identification.
This week, come to the biggest chicken fry in town at the best butcher in town. Come to Grand Union for U.S. government grade A whole chicken fryers, just 29 cents a pound. And for you beef lovers, USDA choice shells of beef, the kind you eat in expensive steakhouses. Whole or half untrimmed beef loins, only $1.19 a pound at Grand Union. Low prices? Sure. But at Grand Union, you still get valuable Triple S blue stamps, the bonus on top of the bargain. Because at Grand Union, we didn't cut our stamps when we cut our prices.
WNBC, AM and FM, New York.
Sparky Anderson has decided that he would rather have Ross Grimsley pitch to Angel Mangrel than to have Clay Carroll face Don Mincher. That's what's happened as Grimsley has been waved in from the bullpen. And, of course, now Dick Williams with the option of going to the bench again, and he has exercised it as Angel Mangrel, who delivered the game-winning hit last night, will come on to face Grimsley. So Carroll has to come out here in the 8th inning after yielding an infield hit to Hegan, a base hit to Bando. The game tied 4-4 in the 8th. Grimsley loosening up, and Mangrel will bat for Mincher, who is announced as a hitter for Hendrick, and the A's with a very deep bench. You know, Jim, the Reds, of course, in the National League playoffs against the Pirates, and one of the things much discussed about Pittsburgh this year was their great bench, the fact they had so many fellas with over 100 hits this year, total of 9, and it seemed like everybody, including those on the bench, hit 300, but the A's bench has been most impressive, extremely impressive. They have only 8 pitchers, so they have 17 others, and Dick Williams utilizes everybody.
That's right, Al, and if you talk to anybody on the A's bench, they don't look to anybody as a great pinch hitter. Mike Egan had a phenomenal average as a pinch hitter, but the Oakland A's are the type ball club that somehow fight back, somehow scratch back. They don't overwhelm you with the big inning. They don't jump way out in front of you, but they hang in there with their good pitching, and somehow, as we've seen in the World Series, they managed to win it. Last of the 9th, last of the 8th in the late innings in the playoffs. They went extra innings twice against Detroit. Lost one of them in 10 innings, won another in 11 innings. But that's the kind of ball club they are, and the situation is now that we are in the last of the 8th inning with Hegan over at third base, and it was sheerly hustle that allowed him to beat out his infield hit. Mando lashed the single left field. Hegan going on to third base, and with 2 out, there's now Grimsley coming in. And, of course, Oakland leading 3 games to 1. Should they win this, it's a 4-4 tie now. It's all over. And the 7, 8, 9 batters are coming up in the 9th. But right now, it's all even. But Grimsley, scheduled to pitch tomorrow, now must pitch today. And what a spot they put him in.
Angel Mangrel, pinch hitter, hit .246 during the regular season, 5 home runs, 32 runs batted in. Ross Grimsley, second appearance in the series, started Sunday's game, worked 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, 6 hits. Hegan at third, Bando at first, 2 down, game tied in the 8th. Grimsley set and delivers the pitch up high, ball 1, 1-0. Gene Tennis on deck. Jack Billingham throwing in the Reds pen, no activity in the A's pen. Outfield is shade toward right. Menke even with a bag at third. Grimsley back to the plate, in for a strike, and the count even, 1-1. Each club now is 6 hits. 4-6-0 for the Reds, 4-6-1 for the A's. Grimsley at the belt, checks the runners, deals 1-1, and the pitch is grounded to Morgan at second. Go up with it, throws to first, and the side retired. So Grimsley gets the job done. Mangrel grounds out, and the A's leave the go-ahead run at third. No runs, 2 hits, 2 runners left. The Reds come up in the 9th with the score. Cincinnati 4, Oakland 4.
It's a pretty interesting thing how that Gillette Track 2 razor works. It has 2 blades, and work like this. The first blade comes along and cuts into a whisker and lifts it part way out of its socket. Now, before that little cut-off whisker can snap all the way back, the second blade comes along and can cut the whisker again, even shorter. Now, of course, there's just no way a one-blade razor can do that. That's the Track 2 razor. Gillette made it one blade better.
For quite a while now, these World Series broadcasts have been brought to you in part by Right Guard Antiperspirant, the one that really helps keep you dry when the action's hot. Well, this year, Right Guard is pleased to introduce a brand new antiperspirant, Right Guard Natural Scent. It's got the same great wetness fighter as regular Right Guard, and it's got a great new scent made from natural ingredients, so it smells light and clean, not heavy or artificial, like a lot of other antiperspirants. New Right Guard Natural Scent Antiperspirant. You'll like the way it works and the new natural way it smells. Well, we go to the ninth inning. It is 4-4. To repeat again, the stage is set for what could be the final game of the 1972 World Series. Oakland leads 3-1. Cincinnati is trying to battle back and go back to Cincinnati, which they would tomorrow. Already Sparky Anderson has been forced to change his pitching plan. Ross Grimsley coming on in relief today. He is the scheduled opening pitcher tomorrow. And Billingham, should it get to Sunday, has been working out. Raleigh Fingers in. They've asked to see the ball. It'll be the 7, 8, 9 batters. And, of course, we have a new center fielder, an Angel Manguel, who's gone to center field. Ninth inning, Geronimo steps in. Fingers looks back as one of the umpires down the right field line, Frank Umon, is walking slowly toward the line. And now Geronimo says he's ready, and here's the game, and here's out.
Cesar Geronimo swings and grounds it into right field. The first pitch is a base hit, and the Reds have the potential winning run on base. So Cesar Geronimo, a single to right. Ross Grimsley is now coming up, starts to come up. McRae is coming out of the dugout. And let's see if Grimsley will bat and then McRae for Concepcion, or whether McRae will come up for Grimsley. They're going to let Grimsley hit, and McRae is out on deck. So Grimsley obviously up there to bunt. Left-hand batter waiting. Bando ready to charge. Grimsley bunts in the air, and Fingers lets it drop, throws to first, and it pulls Kubiak off first base. They get the out, though, but down to second goes Geronimo. So Fingers thought he'd be cute and get perhaps a double play, and it cost him. He almost threw the ball away. Kubiak, a great play to lunge and grab it, and then tag Grimsley going by. Geronimo hung out to drive between first and second, was able to get to second. So it looks like a break for the A's turns into a break for the Reds. Play goes 1-4, and the Reds have the go-ahead run at second. Now, let's see. Will it be Concepcion? Yep. He's going to come up and bat for himself. He's hitting in the 9 spot. Rose will then be on deck. A's get busy in the bullpen again. Left-hander Dave Hamilton, who's been up and throwing about 30 times in the World Series, but has yet to appear, and right-hander Bob Locker. Dave Concepcion flied out as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning. Right-hand batter, 2 for 6 in the series. Pitch on the way is way outside and backhanded by tennis, ball 1. Geronimo at second base, 1 out of the 9th inning. When the A's bat in the bottom of the 9th, they're due to send up tennis, Kubiak, and Fingers. Raleigh back to the plate, outside, and the count goes to 2-0. Bando goes to the mound. Fingers normally a short man in relief. He's pitched in every game. This is the 3rd day in a row he's pitched. Dick Williams will go to the mound. Tennis and Bando joining the conference with Fingers.
I don't think there's any question, Al, that he has lost his stuff. I think it's a question of, hey, Raleigh, calm down. You know you made a bad move there. You had the man at second. You had an easy play at first. You barely did get the man at first. The sacrifice bunt works in an odd way. Just calm down. Take it easy. It's 2-0. You're facing a right-handed batter.
Williams back to the dugout. Concepcion, after checking with Grammis, waiting at the plate. Fingers is set. A glance at second, and the 2-0 pitch on the way is grounded foul outside third. 2-1. The Reds and the A's in Game 5. Oakland leading 3-1. The Reds trying to stay alive. Crowd today, 49,410. 3rd day in a row, same figure. Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way. Swung on a ground ball, fielded by Bando at third, but he drops it, then picks it up, throws in the dirt. Hegan comes off first. Concepcion is safe and falls down. Geronimo has to stop and remain at second base, and the Reds have 2 on with 1 out. Bando short hopped the ball. then juggled it. It rolled behind him. He recovered, threw low in the dirt, and Hegan had to come off the bag, his foot off first base as Concepcion went by. They will give Bando an error, E5. So the Reds have runners at first and second with one out, and Pete Rose, the batter. He's homered, singled, grounded out, flied out. Bando in shallow at third. Rose, switch hitter, batting left-handed. Fingers to the plate, and Rose takes low and inside. Ball 1-0. Great airline drama going on right now. The Reds know they're going back to Cincinnati, and the Reds fans know they're going back, but nobody else in this park covering the World Series knows where they're going tonight. 1-0 pitch on the way is up high, ball 2. 350 media representatives, most of whom are planning to go back to Cincinnati for Game 6, but they don't know where they're going until this one's over, including Jim Simpson. The stretch, here's the 2-0 to Rose. Pete swings, lifts it foul. Back of third, second deck out of play. 2-1. Rose today, facing Hunter, hit the first pitch of the game for a home run. Then Tennis, a 3-run homer in the second. Reds battling from behind, caught the A's in the 8th. Pitch to Rose, Pete chops it foul, and the count is 2-2. On deck is Morgan. Geronimo at second, Concepcion at first. One out in the 9th inning, Reds 4, Oakland 4. Hamilton and Locker in the A's pen. Nobody in the Reds pen. Fingers checking the stretch. The 2-2 pitch to Rose is a line drive, base hit into center field. Monguel charges. Geronimo around third, coming home. He scores. Down to third. Concepcion. Rose dives into second, and the Reds have the lead. Pete Rose, a single to center, 1 run batted in. Geronimo scores. Concepcion to third, and Rose to second on the throw. It is 5-4 Cincinnati. So Pete Rose picks up his 3rd hit of the game. He entered the game 1 for 15. Dick Williams goes to the mound. Morgan will be the batter. He has the left-hander Hamilton in the bullpen, and Hamilton will come on. So the Reds, on the brink of extinction in the 72 series, in the 8th inning, tie it. In the 9th inning, take the lead. It is 5-4 Cincinnati. And Dave Hamilton, who has been up and throwing in every game at least twice, finally gets to appear in the World Series.
Al, I told you, when they come to mark against the Oakland A's, should they lose this ball game, it all started when Geronimo led off with a first pitch line drive single to right. But then when he was trying to be bunted along by the pitcher Grimsley, the ball was popped up in the air. Now what Fingers tried to do was to let it hit in front of him and go to second and then come back to first. He let it hit second, but Geronimo had not reached second, nor was anywhere close. They still could have thrown to second. But Fingers elected instead to throw to first base. And it was just in time there, but the sacrifice bunt that Grimsley set out to execute did work after all, in rather bizarre fashion. And then when Bando had a problem and threw low and drew Hegan off the first base bag, that put men at first and second, of course, and then, of course, Rose has come on, and he has driven in another run here, and he is 3 for 5 today, and Pete Rose, who had a little rough going, 1 for 15 before today, has added 3 base hits today, including a home run, in 5 times at bat. And the other 2 times, it was a good, fine play by Campaneris at shortstop to get him in the 5th, and he drove Rudy very deep in the 7th. So Rose has really been swinging the bat, as the Reds have been swinging near extinction, help me, they would be extinct in the 1972 World Series. Now it's 3-1. The infield comes in, and we can remember that in yesterday's ball game, the Cincinnati Reds came up with 2 in the 8th inning, but lo and behold, in the bottom of the 9th, the A's came up with 2 runs. So we don't know what's going to happen, but at this moment, the Reds have a leg on everybody going back to Cincinnati in answer to your question about where does the media go.
Joe Morgan coming up to face Hamilton. Hamilton appearing for the first time in the series. He was 6-6 with a 2.94 earned run average during the regular season, which he started at Iowa. in the American Association. Infield is in. Squeeze is a possibility. Concepcion down the line from third and Rose off second. And the pitch on the way to Morgan is very high. A fastball missing, 1-0. Again, when the A's come up in the bottom of the ninth, Tennis, Kubiak, and the pitcher spot. They've already used Marquez, Mincher, and Manuel as pinch hitters. Hamilton back to the plate. Up high, ball 2, 2-0. On deck is Bobby Tolan. Joe Morgan is hitless in the World Series, but he's been a key man today. His speed has paid off twice. He's walked twice and scored twice. Here's the 2-0 on the way. Morgan swings. It's a high pop-up in the air to shallow right. Alou coming in, waiting in medium depth right field, makes the catch. Here comes Concepcion. Here's the throw. He is out at home. Double play. Concepcion tagging up on a medium-depth fly ball to right field and cut down at home 9-2 on a double play to take the Reds out of the inning after they take the lead. Cincinnati settles for 1 run, 2 hits. There was 1 error, 1 runner left on. The Oakland A's come up in the bottom of the ninth with the score, Cincinnati 5, Oakland 4.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola. Well, it's World Series time again, and you know what that means. There's a lot of talk going on comparing the 2 pennant winners. Which team has the best lineup, the best pitching staff, and the discussion goes on and on, back and forth. Well, the Dodge boys have a member of their 1973 lineup that's been talked about a lot the past few weeks. It's Dart Sport Convertible, the most versatile, exciting compact the Dodge boys have ever sold. You see, the convertible comes from the famous Dart family of fine economy cars. Plus, it's 3 cars in 1, and that's why it's called Convertible. You take the basic Dart Sport and add 2 options, a sunroof and fold-down rear seat. And presto changeo, you have a roomy 5-passenger car, a sunroof convertible, an economy wagon with a cargo area that's 6.5 feet long. Dart Sport Convertible. It's like getting 3 cars for the price of 1. See it at your Dodge dealers today.
With Al Michaels, Jim Simpson back in Oakland, California, last of the ninth in the 5th game. Oakland leads in games 3-1. If Ross Grimsley, the left-hander warming up, can hold on, we go back to Cincinnati for game number 6 tomorrow afternoon. And, of course, there will be a change in the pitching plans for Sparky Anderson, who had intended to start Grimsley. Vida Blue will start tomorrow, if needed, as a man who has been something else again for Oakland. 4 home runs in this World Series. 2 in the first game, 1 last night. A 3-run homer in this game. Gene Tennis leads off the 9th inning for the Oakland A's. They trail 5-4. Here's Al.
Gene Tennis homered in the 2nd, drew an intentional walk in the 4th, grounded out in the 7th, takes a fastball up high, ball 1. The Reds 5 runs, 8 hits and no errors. Oakland 4 runs, 6 hits and 2 errors. Kubiak on deck, then the pitcher spot. Grimsley back to the plate. Fastball outside. Ball 2, 2-0. Jack Billingham in the Reds bullpen. Tennis out of the box, checking with Irv Noren, third base coach. Reds outfield deep and around toward left. Menke guarding the line at third. Grimsley winds. 2-0 pitch on the way. Tennis takes high. Ball 3, 3-0. Grimsley rocks into his windup, and the 3-0 pitch on the way. A strike on the outside corner. 3-1 the count. The Reds tying the game in the 8th, taking the lead in the 9th, trying to hold on. Grimsley into his windup, and the 3-1 pitch on the way is high, ball 4. So the A's have the tying run on base, and the winning run at the plate. Kubiak is coming up, and Dave Duncan has come out on deck. Kubiak, switch hitter, hit a little chopper back to the mound, which Carroll fielded in the 7th, and Carroll slipped and fell, and Kubiak beat it out for a hit. Good bunter. Menke in on the grass at third. Kubiak around the bunt, misses for a strike. 0-1. Duncan waiting next. After Duncan, then Campaneris. The A's trying to get Tennis to second base. Gene off to his lead at first, held by Perez. Grimsley set. Back to the plate he comes. Kubiak bunts in the air, and Perez makes the catches one away. So Kubiak, normally a good bunter, cannot deliver this time, and Dave Duncan comes up for the first time in the series. And you talk about a forgotten man. Here's a fellow who started the season as the #1 catcher. Gene Tennis then took over because he had the hot bat, and of course Tennis is becoming a national hero in this World Series. But keep in mind, Dave Duncan, 19 homers, 59 runs batted in. Sparky Anderson is going to the mound. He has Jack Billingham in the bullpen. Duncan is a right-handed batter. And Anderson wants the sinker ball specialist who performed so brilliantly the other night against the A's. So I don't know who's going to pitch for the Reds tomorrow if we have a 6th game. Might be Jim Simpson.
Well, Billingham, normally a starter, did relieve 5 times during the regular season, as Grimsley, normally a starter, did relieve a couple of times during the regular season. And we have seen now tomorrow's pitcher, as Al has said, and Sunday's listed pitcher come to the plate. The tying run is on at base, and of course, in the last of the 9th inning, you always look to the winning run at home plate because it would be all over. Cincinnati would have no more chances to score in 1972. As of this moment, though, the edge is in the favor of the Reds, who lead it 5-4 with 1 out, the tying run at first base, and Duncan, a right-handed pitcher, due up, walking back now to talk to Campaneris. And remember, Billingham did so well. They're going to have another runner, Blue Moon Odom. He was a pinch runner last night and scored a run, and he was a pinch hitter 28 times during the regular season. Very fast at first base. Duncan has talked to Campaneris. Billingham is completing his warm-ups in this 5-4 ball game, the 5th being played in brilliant sunshine in Oakland, California. Billingham had quite a game here, down 2 games to none as they were. He worked better than 8 innings, gave up just 3 hits, struck out 7, walked 3, left in the 9th inning. Was just superb on Wednesday night. He continues to warm with Johnny Bench. And now, plate umpire Bob Engel says that's all. So here comes Dave Duncan with 1 out in the 9th, and Blue Moon Odom on at first base.
Dave Duncan coming up, 19 home runs this year, hit .218. Not only is Sparky Anderson used tomorrow's scheduled pitcher, Sunday's scheduled pitcher, but yesterday's pitcher, Don Gullett, is throwing in the bullpen right now. Walker in the A's pen. It is 5-4 Cincinnati. Blue Moon Odom, the pinch runner, the tying run at first. The winning run, Duncan at the plate. Right-hand batter, Billingham is set and delivers, and it's down low. Ball 1. Campaneris on deck. Odom at first base, held on by Perez. The outfield is deep and around toward left. Menke guards the line at third. Billingham set, back he comes, and the pitch is strike. A check swing, it's over anyway, at the knees, 1-1. If there is a 6th game tomorrow in Cincinnati, airtime at 12:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Billingham at the belt, deals 1-1, breaking pitch, a line drive, it's a fair ball down the left field line into the corner. Rose cuts it off, Odom goes to third, the throw goes to second. So the Oakland A's have the tying run at third base and the World Championship run at first base with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Campaneris the batter. Dave Duncan gets up off the bench, his first activity since the playoffs. And in his first World Series appearance, he singles to left down the line. Odom goes to third. Campaneris the batter, and he will check with Irv Noren, the third base coach. Campaneris 0 for 4. Grounded out, struck out, flied out, and struck out. He is 3 for 19 in the World Series.
You got one of the best bunters in the American League, and certainly the best on the A's at the plate. You've got perhaps the fastest runner, Alan Lewis accepted, Blue Moon Odom at third base. You got to wonder, Al.
Odom at third. Duncan at first. The infield is playing in, except Concepcion. He's halfway at shortstop. Menke at the edge of the grass. Morgan back a couple of steps from the edge of the grass. Perez holding the runner at first. Campaneris, the batter, and the pitch on the way is a breaking pitch looped down the right field line, foul, dropping in the bullpen out of play. 0-1. Another one-run game. First game was 3-2, then it was 2-1, then it was 1-0, and then last night it was 3-2, and today is 5-4 Cincinnati at the moment. Tying run at third, winning run at first, one out. Billingham set. Back he comes 0-1. The pitch is strike, a breaking pitch at the knees, and Campaneris upset about the call. The count 0-2. Matty Alou, left-hand batter, waiting on deck. Outfield, around toward left. Campaneris waiting. Odom a short lead at third. Here's a stretch. Strike two pitch on the way. Popped in the air, right side of the infield. Morgan is calling and makes the catch in foul territory. Odom is coming home. They throw home, and he is out at home, and we go to Cincinnati. Odom tries to tag up and is thrown out at home as Joe Morgan makes the catch in foul ground. So the play goes F4-2, and the game ends on a double play. And boy, will they be second-guessing everything that happened in the ninth inning today. The big play by Fingers. Now Odom tags at third. I don't know whether Noren sent him home or whether he came home on his own, but he is thrown out. Joe Morgan made a fine play in foul territory to make the catch and then spun around and was able to throw home in time to nail the runner. Morgan slipped as he got the throwaway, but still a strike to bench, and Odom cut down as he slid into home. So the game ends on a double play, 4-2, and the Reds in a thriller beat the A's. So this, of course, has been a great World Series, all one-run games. The Reds stay alive. We go back to Cincinnati tomorrow. Final score today is the Reds 5 and the Oakland A's 4.
This is Milo Hamilton. I call the play-by-play for the Atlanta Braves, and I do the radio commercials for Delta, the official airline of the Braves. When I talk about Delta, well, I speak from experience. Last month, I flew more than 16,000 miles on Delta. It was a rugged schedule, but the Delta people made it as smooth as anyone could ask for. Delta is an airline run by professionals, 24,000 professionals. Each highly skilled individual knows his job and gives it his best. That goes for the reservationist who confirms your space by Deltamatic computer in 3 seconds, right onto the baggage handler who delivers your bags in an average time of 7 minutes after you land. It's what Delta calls total service. I'd like to recommend Delta Airlines to you. And I have one other suggestion for people who travel, the American Express Money Card. You can even extend payment for your Delta tickets on the Sign and Fly plan. You're always ready to go with an American Express Money Card. And Delta is ready when you are.
Well, Al Michaels summed it up perfectly when he said, what has gone before means nothing now. The ninth inning was it all. What happened in the ninth inning were borders on the incredible. It was a 4-4 ball game in the ninth inning. The Reds up. Geronimo single to right field. And then the attempted sacrifice bunt by Grimsley was popped up in the air. Instead of catching it, and actually Geronimo was off first base, Fingers let it bounce in front of him. Then instead of throwing to second base, as Geronimo then took off for second base, he threw to first base and barely got the runner there. So that sacrifice bunt did work. Then Bando had a chance on a ball, but he threw wide. But it was not an unearned run because Pete Rose got his third hit of the day and cleanly drove in Geronimo from second base. That made it 5-4. But again, it was an odd play because Geronimo might have been cut down and probably would have been cut down at second base had Fingers gone ahead and fielded the ball and thrown to second base. Then 5-4 trailing in the last of the night. The tying run, Tennis, worked them for a walk. Kubiak tried to bunt him over but popped it up. Duncan was called on and the reserve catcher lined a single down the left field line and Tennis fled for third base. Make that the Blue Moon Odom running for Tennis, fled for third base. And then with Odom at third base, there was a pop foul down the right field line. It was just past the skin of the infield. It was not deep at all. Morgan's back was not to the plate at all. He was running about three-quarter motion, caught the ball as he crossed the line in the foul territory, saw that Odom had already started. But such was the play. Odom had already started. Morgan then slipped and still had time to get him. As we watched on instant replay, as the sliding Blue Moon Odom came home, his foot going for the plate hit the ankle and foot of Johnny Bench, and he was cleanly out. It was a great call by the home plate umpire, Bob Engel. And this ball game, the 5th game of the World Series, is over. Cincinnati wins it 5-4. We go to the 6th game. We go back to Cincinnati, and we will be back with the final wrap-up of today's World Series game in just 1 minute.
Hi, this is Danny Thomas. Pull up a chair and rest a minute, will you? Oh, I know you're busy. Well, then take half a minute anyway. After all, half a loaf is better than no loafing at all, right? That's what I want to talk to you about. I think you ought to take a break. Stay in the morning. Relax. Have a cup of coffee. Enjoy a little conversation. You know, a friend of mine once told me that the best time to relax is when you don't have time to relax. Of course, he was the same clown who told the mother of 6 young children to relax, too. Well, that much of an optimist I'm not. But I do hope you'll find a few minutes every day to relax and join me. I'm going to share some stories with you about things that are on my mind and probably on yours, too. And about some of the unusual people and situations I've come in contact with. I'll be along Monday through Friday right here on NBC Radio. That's where the emphasis is.
Well, I hope you're near your radios wherever you are tomorrow, because Vita Blue will be starting for the Oakland A's as we go to Cincinnati. The question is, who starts for the Cincinnati Reds? Ross Grimsley scheduled to start, was in action. Jack Billingham scheduled to start Sunday in action. But Al Michaels, since Gary Nolan scheduled to start today and then scratched, was up and throwing, I'm wondering if Nolan might not get the call tomorrow. I don't know. You're closer to the ball club than I.
You know, it's very possible. He threw on the side today. I watched. It didn't look like Gary was throwing very hard, but maybe he was just down there testing his arm. I don't know. Nolan may be able to make it tomorrow. I'm sure Sparky Anderson was not even remotely concerned about who tomorrow's starter would be once the game got to its late stages, Jim. So I don't know. I would think maybe Wayne Simpson tomorrow. He threw today in the bullpen for quite some time. He hasn't pitched in the series. It might be Simpson tomorrow starting. If I had to guess, and that's strictly a guess from my part, I haven't talked to Sparky or anybody down there since the game is over. But if I had to pick one guy right now, I'd say Simpson tomorrow.
You know, many times people are accused of trying to build up a World Series, trying to make it more exciting than what it is. Still, 1 game win by the Oakland A's tomorrow, and it's all over. But remember, now, all games, the first 5, have been decided by a single run. And remember also that tomorrow, pitching for Oakland will be Vita Blue, who last year won the Cy Young Award. The Most Valuable Player Award was in a long salary dispute with owner Charles O. Finley. Finally signed, had a losing season, went on to the playoffs, popped off to the press that he was mad that he was not starting in the playoffs. There was some consternation and discussion in Cincinnati. Later he said, I'm not sorry I'm not starting. I'll be in the bullpen, but I wish someone had told me. Then we got the word that the Oakland A's were going to keep Blue in the bullpen. And then yesterday, with Catfish Hunter going today, and it looked as though the A's were home free because Catfish is quite a pitcher, and the A's were out in front 3-1. Williams announced that tomorrow it's Vita Blue. So it's Vita Blue against who? Correct? Speaking in English, against whom? But it rhymes to say Vita Blue against who tomorrow. So the drama's all spelled out for us, and we go back to Cincinnati, and wherever you are, I hope you'll join us tomorrow afternoon. Our broadcast time will be 12:45 Eastern Time, and we'll be back at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati with the score in games of the 1972 World Series, 3-2, Oakland. And when we get back to Cincinnati, Al Michaels, you'll be on the television side, and let me say to you that 3 games plus a rainout that we've had out here in Oakland have been a pleasure.
Enjoyed it very much, Jim, and I hope the folks have enjoyed listening to the games as much as we've enjoyed broadcasting them, because every one of the games has really been a thriller in the 1972 World Series, and I think for thrills and for exciting plays and for controversial and interesting plays, I think today was the topper.
Well, our NBC engineer has been Dave Hudson. Al Ashby has been our NBC producer, and our thanks again to you, Al Michaels. This broadcast has been authorized under broadcast rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. And any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of the game without the express consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Game number 5 of the 1972 World Series has been brought to you by Chrysler Corporation, Extra Care and Engineering. Your host today, your local Dodge dealer. Delta, the airline run by professionals. Delta flies to 99 great places in the Western Hemisphere, and Delta's ready when you are. The Gillette Company, makers of foamy face shaver with lubricating protection to help prevent shaving irritation. And brought to you by the Anderson Company, makers of Anco windshield wiper products for your better driving visibility. The final score once again in the 5th game of the World Series is Cincinnati 5, Oakland 4. This has been an NBC Radio Network production.
Hey!